Should be a fun game here as well. We should have our mics working this time too, so that's always nice to have. We're getting to the
Let's hope.
bands. Yeah, we cut off a little bit of that intro, but it's all good. We're getting to these bands, of
No.
course. EXG starting on the attack. Faults goat. You already wote. We're getting right on into things. And what do you expect for some bands here on Border? It's a pretty standard map, of course, but I don't know. Sometimes teams can change things up here.
The Nomad one is honestly, at this point, when it comes to any map, Nomad is a pretty expected ban. That's kind of a default or kind of a staple. But the thing with Border is it's almost becoming the new Oregon. It's kind of a map that you can play the exact same way over and over again. There's a very expected way to play it. So if I don't see a Thatcher or a Thermite, no, never mind a Capitao. So we'll stop a little bit more on the hard breach denial with a Capitao not being able to utilize those smoke or those asphyxiating bolts back to his advantage. Anything else on intel on the side of defense, maybe a Maestro or a Valkyrie. If we also wanted to knock out an Echo, any of those would make perfect sense.
There's the
I didn't
Mira.
get any of those. Yeah, or I mean, yeah, but the Mira is in tandem with a Mira, a Maestro, or an Echo. At that point, that's also becoming standard for maps as well.
Another one we might see, I don't expect it necessarily on this map, but Goyo is another popular one, just new as of this season. It's going to be Maestro instead.
Okay, I got one.
You got one.
I got one.
Well done, well
All right.
done.
Look, if we're keeping a tally on how well I'm able to predict bans, like, can we just throw that out the window, please? No one start recording this. Like, if I'm already doing bad on event predictions, I don't want to get really, really bad on map ban predictions either. None of this will go well.
I have bad news if you don't want this recorded, because we are actually live on stream right now.
That is unfortunate, but I will
Unlucky.
work within it. Oh boy. Well, we go upstairs to armory lockers to start with. This is like, as I mentioned before, this is Oregon. It's being played the same map the same way over and over again. If you don't start on armory lockers, you are one ballsy team and you've got some tricks up your sleeve. But we'll begin on the top floor, so we don't worry about the verticality from anything upstairs, unless you're really, really good at lobbing a nade from break room all the way through CC. But we'll see.
I do want to say as we start the very first matchup of the night, if you notice any issues with the stream, sound issues, or video issues, whatever they may be, do type it in chat. I'm trying to keep a close eye on this. We got a couple of people in here now, and keep it polite, keep it PG, and hopefully we won't have any problems during the stream. Also, mapban.eu is down, which is usually what community casters use for our overlays, so I've had to go back to a bit of an old school HUD. You can see it on your screen right now, but it should be fine. There shouldn't be any huge issues with any of this, so just something to keep in mind. If you're wondering why that's different or if you notice anything, then do let me know. But without further ado, again, the match is starting off, and you can already see all the names on your screen. We got Drip, of course, formerly on the team that turned into Luminosity. You've got Jarvis, you've got Chala, Ghost. I mean, tons of names on both squads. Jarvis going to be starting off with one of these black guys getting thrown outside. Could signal a run out. This is a fairly common spot, and Biologics playing on the IQ means it should get spotted out. He's running over towards where that camera is usually placed. I'd be surprised if it stays up long enough for a run out to actually happen. He's looking for the cameras now, but at the moment it doesn't seem like they found anything. Jarvis is going to go for it, though, getting a little bit aggressive, and he just gets some utility, and then will back off after getting detected. All right, no harm, no foul. I don't hate that.
I mean, if you're going to go for a run out, it might as well be on vents, because there's no one in a close enough position to CCTV or to break room to try to make a play happen. So very, very quickly, if any intel happened through CC, now that's basically pure clear in for XEXG. They've got full control of CC as well as break, so now they can start to find a way to push themselves in. And for those of you who are unaware, Drip is Goddess fan Drip, aka Yardy, aka a man who's played on multiple teams in the past. Just in case it gets confusing, this is the same gentleman who's played on a couple of CL teams in the past, but
Technically qualified for PL.
he is a pro. He's a CL champion. I will not take that achievement away from him. There are people who are CL champions who have never been in Pro League, and this is one of those men. He is a good player in his own right. He's just been a victim of unfortunate circumstance.
Totally. Well, we've already gotten halfway through this round, and we haven't seen any kills just yet. Drip, the man of the hour, has been taken down to about half HP, but he hasn't managed to suffer any bullets to his brain just yet, so he is still up and kicking. Looking for some more, though. Of course, a lot of drones going from both sides of this map, with both yokais and regular drones running around the map. opening up this wall. Again, a little bit late, but at least it's getting opened up. Doesn't look like either of those Hibana charges are going to get denied, and the first one didn't either. So you got full utility out of your hard destruction. That's always nice to see coming up from the attackers. Again, though, you're worried about picks, right? Look at these defenders. They're not too far spread out, but they're still going to be in trouble once you run on in. There's going to be Chal getting the opening frag onto Spades. It's going to be the buck off of the board. Some of that vertical destruction no longer going to be able to get utilized by those attackers. Toxic Babe's also getting thrown out to stall the push into the bomb site. With 45 seconds on that clock, it's going to start getting close, and the attackers kind of need to make something happen, Jacob.
It looks like everything is happening on the exterior of CCTV, and everyone is kind of huddled back around Armory. Crusher on the Zofia is trying to make a rotate back through Tellers if he can, but the entirety of this attack with the diffusers on the opposite side, Crusher finds one, but Drip finds the second. It is still around. Nope, now we're back into a 3v3. The action begins to heat up with less than 30 seconds left. A push needs to happen here. And Hibana still looking for picks, hesitant to go for anything, trying to figure out where angles are. And everyone's just firing blindly until Crusher finds another one. That's his second. The Jaeger is now off the board, but now there's only 10 seconds left. Still with diffuser in hand. Prod does have positions back behind lockers, but he's trying to make sure the Echo can't stop a diffuse plant. That Yokai has gone out, and now we'll sit, and the diffuse should go down successfully. Now we find ourselves in the 3v2 post plant. Jarvis finds one quick one. He finds a second very, very fast. And now it's all on Crusher, who's already got 2 kills to his name in this round. Has to find a way to make it all work out in the end. As both members of PogChamp now trying to move up and spot his location. They do have full diffuser plant, but Crusher's just sitting on the outside. I'm not sure where he's at. He's completely off of the bomb site. He's going to try to detonate one of those grenades all the way up, but it won't be enough to stop him, and PogChamp will still get the defuse successfully. A little bit late on the timing from the Zofia grenade, but in the end, Jarvis does manage to stick the plant.
Brilliant post plant coming out there from Jarvis, picking up the 2K and then going for that plant or that disable as well. I was worried that he was a little bit too slow. I was worried that maybe he needed to stop that plant from going down. Other than playing the retake, right? He didn't have any other strategies once he sacrificed that. But he came back and he was able to hit those really nice 2 shots after the plant went down and then stick the defuse too. Again, Crusher sort of gambling that PogChamp wouldn't be so ballsy and just go to stick it. Of course, that did not pay off. He had a good strategy, right? Going down below, trying to play it vertically is not a bad call at all. However, I mean, you run into the situation where if you take too long to get down there, which is exactly what he did, then, you know, they stick it and then you've basically got no hope for it. So, I mean, player advantage, you can do stuff like that. Really well done by the guys over on PogChamp. They take a 1-round lead, but I think that sort of showed us, you know, how close it was. And there's still a whole lot of rounds to fight for EXG.
Let me put it this way. If that last round is a good indicator, an accurate indicator of what's to come for the rest of this match, I am so down. I am so ready for this.
Oh, me too. This is getting exciting, Jacob. I'm really glad we got this for our first cast together.
Yeah, trust me. With the pedigree and the history that all of these players have within this match, just everybody in the lobby has got something to prove, and everybody wants to try to make it towards the next season of Challenger League, even if it's not to make it to Pro League, at least getting into CL to have a consistent competitive basis to play from that's not a Tier 3 league has got to feel good for these guys. So there's definitely pride on the line in most circumstances here. The same default cam will come out from Jarvis all the way from Ventilation, but nothing is going to... if Bio's not going to go for the cam, and that cam may stay... I don't remember if that Valkyrie cam was shot by Bio at the very end of the last round, or the beginning of the last round either. So... may still be the same install game. I didn't see a shot either, so I'm not sure.
Well, hopefully he's going to be able to find that one way or another. I mean, again, you're going to be changing up these bomb sites, so we're back down to most teams' secondary bomb site. Most people are going to go vent Workshop for their second bomb site, and it seems like there's no changes coming out this time around. As for the attackers, it's all going to be about that top floor, right? You've got Trippin trying to defend up top here. You probably got a couple other defenders as well. You can see Drip and Chala through your outlines also going to be holding from up top. Every single bomb site on border, you're going to be focusing on that top floor. They're using a 4-man hold up top here. They're going to throw ghosts down on that first floor. Not uncommon at all to see 3, 4, 5 players up on that top floor for the defense, even though the bomb site's down beneath them. It's just so important to play vertically on this map. Trippin going a little bit aggressive as there's a little bit of pressure being placed on this Armory Lockers wall. Prod, of course, working away at this, and of course he's got his support players around with him too to try to deal with those bandit batteries and such. Seems like they'll get at least a hole opened up, and they'll get a head opened up too with Drip falling to the ground thanks to Thumbus. So that's going to be a good first shot there. And Thumbus had some success recently on Disrupt Gaming. Looks like he's found a home here in the qualifiers as well. And another kill from Bio onto Jarvis. So this one going a lot better than the last round.
Already, we're seeing the man count swing pretty firmly in XG's favor, and one more will go down as Crusher does find another one. And we sit now in a 4v2, and everything happening up top. Trippin trying to find a quick double, and he does, not managing to take the buck out immediately, but everything still happening up on the top floor. And it'll be Prod and Bio to clean up with the last two, as everything happens on the top floor. No one manages to make their way downstairs onto the site, as every single kill happens upstairs, and we move to an even round count now.
Very fast attack coming out from EXG 2.0. I think that's really important up against a squad like PogChamp, because again, we saw in the very first round, a lot of those early picks did go their favor, and then yeah, it was sort of a, I mean, it was kind of a comeback, right? After the plant went down, PogChamp were able to turn things around for them. But the early game, kind of both rounds now, has gone a little bit more towards EXG 2.0. So I like they sped things up a little bit. They didn't waste too much time on that top floor. That's, again, on this bomb site, going to be a huge factor. How much time do you waste taking that top floor, if you can take it at all? And then if you can't, do you focus on, like, throwing everybody at it? Or do you finally try to move some guys away, focus on that first floor instead? It's difficult, but the decision making was fantastic by EXG 2.0. They won their gunfights, and it seemed to pay off for them. So well done by them.
If you're super ballsy, and I mean really ballsy, then you might go for a take for either bomb site on this objective without having to worry about your top floor roam clear. But the sheer verticality of Border is something that's, you know, been stated over and over time and again. If you've watched any Pro League or Challenger League or really any game that happens in a competitive level on this map, it's played very, very similarly time and time again. And to not clear out roamers on the top floor and, you know, worry about any hatch drops or worry about being able to blow the floor out to stop a plant or stop a defuse or anything like that, it does lend itself to the idea that top floor is incredibly critical. So this round could very well go the exact same way. Again, everything could happen on the top floor unless the roamers from PogChamp are cleared out very quickly, because every single kill happening up on the top floor means that you just don't have enough time to start working your way back downstairs, or you're not able to take the pressure off. So we'll see if this ends up being the same case.
Mute Mozzie combo coming out this time around from PogChamp, maybe trying to fix some of the problems from last time. Still, it's going to be Ghost soloing down on that first floor. Again, it didn't seem like there was a huge problem with them not having enough players on the first floor, so I don't hate that the strategy isn't changing up too much here. Didn't seem like that was really the problem. This is a bit of a difference. Trippin playing very close with one of those nitro cells. If this goes off, and this could be really, really good for him, but it's going to be tough to hit that angle. If those shots are coming through a soft wall, probably isn't going to work out. No, it's not. Spades hits the shot under Drip instead. Still alive, though, is the guy holding that C4. The Bandit trick's going to work out for Trippin, so despite the fact that C4 didn't come through anything, he at least got some Habana pellets. Not too bad for what ended up going the first minute of that round. Oh, and
already
again.
the Bandit tricks being very, very effective, and nades can only take care of so much. And finally, the last bit of X-Kairos pellets will make one hole in the wall, but it takes all of Prod's Habana charges to knock anything out on that wall side. And again, everything will still happen on top floor. The pressure coming in from Chala and Trippin on that side. The Nitro Cell comes out, and it will not connect. Nobody on the side of that EXG 2.0 will take any damage, and Chala will find his first frag on a Spades, and we'll be back down to a 4v4 with just a little under half the round to go. And again, all of, like, literally every silhouette on this map, if you can see the blue and orange outlines everywhere on this map, it is all concentrated on top floor, and that is also where Diffuser is. We'll make a rotate back out through Fountain and try to put more pressure on the Armory Locker side, as that is where the defenders are setting. Jarvis looking for a wall bang. The pinks do come out. Ooh, the gunfight is not won either way, and it'll be him to fall. And now Bio is also down, so it's still at an even round, but now Chala makes good on his Nitro Cell promise, and there's another one from Thumbus. Again, everything swinging one way or the other. Both teams seem to be deadlocked. We still have about a minute to go, and EXG 2.0 still do have Confuser control. So now they're looking for a little bit more on that vertical play to see if there's anybody who's rotated downstairs.
You got a 2-on-2, this top floor firmly in the control of EXG 2.0. They like to have that. Don't have a ton of soft destruction to work with. Of course, they've got some that's already been made, and they also have those ash charges if they absolutely need to. So they've got a little bit that they can work with here, but of course the big operators can open that up, mainly the buck from Spades being taken off the board. We'll see what they can do with it. 25 seconds. Prod's got to get down if he wants to start this plant. Both of them currently just staring at hatches, getting ready to drop. Neither of the defenders really too close to the bomb site. We've got Chala pretty far off, sort of just covering those staircases in case there's a rotation that way. Here comes the first drop. Ghost is still opening up peak holes. Thumbus gets his first kill up onto Chala. That's going to make it a double for the round. Ghost now the last man alive. He needs to start moving because this plant's going down inside of ventilation. Now he can push for it, but it's being watched. Thumbus is going to be the one to try to stop him from moving in. The plant goes down. Ghost takes half of his HP down, but he sees both of them. Will it be enough? Hits the first shot, going for the second. Here comes the shotgun through the softball now. Will he hit the shot? Yes, he will. A triple kill from Ghost. And look at the disable as well. Beautifully executed with the clutch. Gonna put him up 2-1 and retain the lead. Really, really well done by the last member of PogChamp. 2 clutches now have given him their wins.
You love to see it. The shotgun play coming in at the very end to secure the round. That's just poetic. I don't know what it is. Everybody who plays Smoke or Mute's always playing, looking for those SMG kills, but then you forget he's got another gun. He's got something else he can pick out of his pot. I'm not really certain how Prod was intending to play that. It almost looked like he was trying to swap weapons back over to his bearing 9 to play at closer range because he knew where his smoke was hiding. But in the end, it'll go right back one more round for PogChamp. And now the set's been completed, we can move right back up to Armory Lockers. And now you're playing top floor. But now the bomb is on top floor. So you're no longer worrying about having to make a rotate back downstairs, and everything can still be concentrated on your fountain play and your armory play. But good God, you love to see a clutch this late in the evening, am I right?
Oh, you totally do. The disable games have been really strong from PogChamp. Obviously, it's a small sample, but we're 3 rounds in, and both of the rounds that have been won by PogChamp have been won by getting some clutches last second and going for those disables. So it's interesting to note, I mean, every time they manage to plant the diffuser, it has resulted in a loss for EXG 2.0. I'm not saying don't plant the diffuser, but maybe they need to make better decisions on when they're planting those diffusers. It can be tough sometimes when you're planting and you have got no time. You kind of just got to go for those plants. But I feel like a lot of times for this squad, you're planting in positions where you don't have a huge advantage. And obviously you can't always play when you have a huge advantage. Those last 2 rounds that they lost, it was a case where like you're planting and you really have no other option because the time is so low. But we'll go back to that second round. We managed to go a lot faster, right? So I'd like to again see a little bit more focus on the bomb site early. On Ventilation Workshop, it's tough because you've got to focus on that top floor. But when the rounds go really, really late like this, when the plants have been going down, it seems like it is more so for even guys on PogChamp. So worrying for EXG, but certainly something that they can try to fix going forward in this match.
The thing that I'm noticing is that EXG is currently only rocking the 1 hard breacher with only Habana when Thermite has not been taken off the board. Trippin will find Crusher immediately, so there's some of your soft destruction. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's 2 people who are able to stop any sort of hard breach with both Drip and Trippin playing people who can electrify any barriers. Trippin will find his second, so there's Thumbus, but you still have the Habana on the board. And it's just going to take a lot of effort trying to knock any of these armory walls open if that's still the play that PogChamp, or sorry, still the play that XEXG want to utilize on this site. And another successful trick, all of the utility currently finding a use. Spades will find one on Ghost, but there's Trippin with his 30s already sitting on 3 with the last 2 members still sitting outside armory wall. To their credit, they still have Diffuser, and that's about the only thing that they have to their name right now. A slow creep in, 1 drone comes, and ooh, Thatcher does find one very quickly. The Nitro Sub will come out and immediately nail Prod, and now it's all sitting on Bio, who also has 2 kills on his side, but now he's got to find the other 2, both sitting on the opposite side of the objective, and he no longer has Diffuser. That's sitting down behind Armory Wall. He's got to find his way back in and nab that, but he'll opt for a rotate all the way back through Break Room instead, as he tries to nullify as much intel as possible, and he will have to do this all by himself. It'll need to be a clutch in the way of EXG as opposed to one for PogChamp now. A 1v2 to close this one out, but he still does have plenty of time. He's not under too much pressure, but what he wants to do is try to nullify either one of these players before they make a successful rotate, unless their plan is just to anchor up on site and wait for somebody to move in.
Doesn't seem like you got to move too much if you're PogChamp right now. Just let him come in. It seems like they know where they're at. Jarvis saw him for an instant, went for that ping. Seems to be looking at where he's at, sees the vault in, calls it to his teammate. Chala now in that gunfight, and he'll win it over on a biologic. So that's going to be PogChamp taking round number 4, going up 3-1 on that scoreboard. And I think to that last round, it's very difficult if you're the last man standing for your team in that situation. Credit to Bio. I mean, he did what he could, but you don't have a whole lot of advantages. You don't have your health, you don't have the positioning, you don't have the players, obviously, and you're kind of just hoping your players stay alive a little bit longer. I was really impressed, partly by the kills coming up from Trippin, but also from the support from Drip, both getting a C4 kill and with that really well executed Kaid trick.
Yeah, I think to his credit, I think he was about a millisecond away from that Kaid trick not working and for Armory Wall being completely blown open. And who knows, the story of the round could have been much different if that one wall hadn't remained as closed off as it did. So back to the point about having two people who were able to stop hard breaches effectively with both both a bandit and a Kaid being brought out on the last round does make it a lot easier. But now for round number 5, it looks like they've switched off of that, as both operators playing that role will now switch off, and Ghost will hop back on the mute as we head downstairs once again. That's already 2 failed attempts to try to take the Armory Lockers bomb site from EXG, and to their credit, they do still have one Ventilation Workshop victory to their name, but we're no longer in Ventilation Workshop, lads.
No, it's going to be locked for one more round, which means we're headed to Bathroom Tellers. Again, there's going to be a heavy focus on this top floor, as there typically always is between these, on this map. And I'm interested to see how the strategy changes compared to Ventilation Workshop. In terms of this defense, the castle's probably the biggest difference that we're seeing. Trippin, of course, bringing that operator. Not something we were seeing on those other bomb sites, so we'll see where he's trying to utilize those. There was one already getting into that core area of the Armory Lockers top floor, so you've got a couple being placed up there. Nice to see from the defense, but so far it doesn't seem like it's going to be too different from the norm.
At this point, no, but I guess the question you could pose is, what's the more unorthodox site to go to? If you don't have Armory, or if you have both Armory and Ventilation locked, then which bomb site seems more like the default? Is it the Bathroom Tellers one, or are you heading into Customs instead? Because the Bathroom one I usually see, it seems like it's played very, very infrequently based on the pick rate for Customs if you do happen to win 2 sites on one defensive rotate. Jarvis will find the first one on Bio, so that's your Thatcher off the board. You can still try to knock out Mutuamers in another way, but now it does seem infinitely more difficult as Spades grabs his second one, and that's Drip. But as long as the Jaeger's slammed his ADSs down, then hopefully he's done enough of his job, and there is about half HP still remaining on Jarvis. So at the moment, the HP pool does remain in the favor of EXG. There's still less than a minute to go, and we've already got 2 picks off the board. And yes, a lot of this will still be contained to the top floor. Everything is happening upstairs before you move back down. Spades, a quick kill, and there's Jarvis off the board very fast. 1 Nitrocell, and it just misses. It almost takes Spades' head off. And Chala's still trying to do more damage, but he'll be fine back inside Bathroom. And now a 4v2 very, very firmly in the favor of EXG, as now they can start to make their push all the way around. Trippin will try to equalize, Ghost will find Crusher. He'll be the one to mop up the kill. It won't be Trippin. It'll be stolen right out from under him. But the push will still come back up through Archives. And, a very quick frag. But it will be immediately refragged. And now we sit back in a 2v1. It's still man count in EXG's favor. But you got one player that you have to locate before you can go for a successful diffuser attempt. And this one may actually work out in their favor this time, provided that Ghost doesn't have another one of those 1v2 clutches still sitting in his bag.
Ghost has pulled off crazier things in the past. He does get droned out, so that flank he was starting to attempt does get shut down, and his retreat also going to get shut down with Spades from up top managing to find him on the retreat. So well done by Spades, right? Catch him out, and this is actually a really smart play. This is not something a lot of players would have thought of. Just use that skeleton key, open yourself up an angle, and then find him on the retreat. You know where he's going to be running back to. Really, really smartly played out by the Buck in that situation. So you'll have to see it from Spades, and a solid round. It seems to me like the guys over on PogChamp really don't want to give up that top floor. They're fighting tooth and nail for it, and it doesn't always work out for them.
The story is, forget that there is a bottom floor until everybody up top is dead. That's it. That's how it's being played. Granted, this can totally switch around, and EXG may be a little bit more reluctant to lose bodies on the top floor when it switches over to their half, but we got one more round before we head over to a position swap. So we'll head back to Ventilation Workshop as the attempt to hold Bathroom Tellers does not work out in PogChamp's favor, and we'll head back to a site that they've already won once, and now they've got it unlocked. So we'll see if, and everybody immediately has the top floor. It's the same play every time. Why waste reinforcements and utility downstairs when you know how much this vertical play is going to affect you if you lose that top floor? It's just the same thing. It'll be the same play up until PogChamp finally loses more of top floor control.
Certainly, and I think like it's pretty standard. You're gonna see almost every team when they defend on the bottom sites of border put a lot of resources on that top floor, but it's always gonna be a difficult judgment call on when you fall back and when you choose to fight. And for pretty much every hold on this map, when you fall back is gonna really define how the round goes for you. PogChamp have not been afraid to stay. They've not been afraid to, you know, bring their fists up and go for those fights. And that can be a strategy that works out for them, but again, it gets really risky, and it puts a lot of pressure on Ghost. That's why he's found himself in two 1v2 clutches so far. One he was able to win, the other one not so lucky. And it can be fine if you've got a really strong roamer, or anchor, excuse me, down below. But again, it's tough, and you need to be confident in winning those gunfights up top. So we'll try it again. Of course, Jarvis moving over to the Vigil is a very interesting swap up. You lose that information from the Valkyrie. He has been spotted out. I don't know necessarily on that ERC7 or not. But the drones did get notified that that happened. So the 6th pick not going to hide his identity for too long in this round. Still, though, I mean, hopping over to the Vigil, not too bad of a strategy. Especially on this top floor, you can go for some of those later flanks. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either, but there is some utility from the attack now being expended already downstairs as they try to open up a little bit more of that customs wall, and Spades trying to apply a little bit more bottom floor pressure now is now, hey, there is a bottom floor. Why don't we try to use this to our advantage a little bit and stop somebody else from rotating back upstairs? It may or may not be the play, as there still is a hefty amount of utility play in Trippin. One Nitro Cell away, and it will not do any damage to Prod, as that wall will finally be opened up, but there's still 2 men waiting for them inside lockers in case they do want to go for that push, but he's the one with the fuser, and Spades will find his first kill. That's Ghost off the board, so no more clutch attempts from that man, as Spades downstairs he's already starting to close in on the site, as now him playing on the bottom floor as opposed to the top does pay off. Now we kind of sit in a stalemate as we wait to see exactly what happens from EXG. I guess the one wild card in this situation is Spades. He's downstairs. He can apply pressure if he wants to make a push inward, and both teams are still trying to concentrate most of their play on top floor, and Prod's starting to drone out. He might want to vault in ventilation room right here on the window and just try to go for a plant if possible. Trippin will find one on Crusher, but that's more of a distraction at this point, as the diffuser is now sitting downstairs. Thumbles will find one, and that's Drip off the board. And now that plant is indeed going down, so that top floor control no longer matters in terms of how fast they can get this one off, but Trippin will find the kill, and that will stall diffuser down inside ventilation room, and now you know you have to start clearing out people on the top. Spades will find one and find a second in quick succession, and that is how we even things up at 3-3 heading into the half. The diffuser does not go down, and Trippin unable to stave off the madman that is Spades.
Some fancy play coming out from Spades there. I mean, one of probably the best players from Challenger League season number 9 that didn't end up on a pro league team, in my opinion. This guy's fantastic and really flexing his muscles there. I mean, that was a really interesting round, because I think on EXG 2.0, they sort of started to realize how much pressure was being placed from the defenders up on that top floor. What did? They focused the one guy on that first floor. They took Ghost off of the board, and then they just put like 3 guys down on that first floor and then went for a plant. It did get denied, right? Trippin up top was able to stop that by going through the floorboards, but they had enough players down there, and the guys over on PogChamp were scrambled enough that they weren't able to really recover once they lost all that ground down below. And that's why you've got to be willing to rotate players down. That's why you've got to be ready to have some players to support your anchor if he needs it, because if the attackers go for it, they can just focus the bomb site. And sure, it devolved into a little bit more of a frag fest than that strategy usually lends itself to. It still was enough to give the round over to the EXG 2.0.
1000 IQ play from Bio, by the way, swapping from Kaid over to Kaid on the 6th pick.
As always.
Man, I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you memeing up a little bit for us.
Sometimes it's just you think you want a 6th pick and then you think better of it. It's not even always a meme, to be fair.
You're just like, yeah, you know what? Maybe this is the right call.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what I want to do. And to his credit, he will be the only person who's able to stop any hard breaches effectively, as there isn't a mute or a bandit on the squad. So maybe if he's already got that shotgun equipped, if he's running that thing, if only because of the TCSG, and just run that thing like it's a DMR, because that is all that thing has been since it got added in Wind Bastion. That thing is a monster if you know how to handle it. We'll start out. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. EXG 2.0 starting off with a very interesting hold up on this top floor. They've started to really open up those offices. We'll see once some action goes down there that there's a lot of open space. There's still some, like, the outside walls are still been reinforced. It tells me that they're probably going to want to play some players inside of there. They also have some far roamers in terms of where they're playing guys inside of security. You see an outline there, and of course being protected by those pests. It's Thumbus who's inside of security at the moment, and of course protected by those pests means it's going to be really hard to get him out of here. Spades is there as well, to be fair. A little bit of damage goes onto Crusher, but he answers back with a headshot onto Jarvis, so I don't think he's going to complain too much. This wall also being left soft, not the most uncommon thing we see from teams nowadays. Pretty much standard practice, but this has been a solid hold, and it seems like the guys on PogChamp don't have an immediate response to it.
Not yet. It does seem as though EXG is taking, or is doing something that PogChamp didn't really do, which is put somebody back inside CC or somebody just to cover in break room, because the clears from PogChamp when they were on the attack were very, very fast because there wasn't anybody sitting back inside of it. So now Thumbus trying to hold people down. He knows there's at least one back outside Armory, if not a second, if he can try to find a quick frag, and anybody is willing to peek that hall. And Chala will nab Crusher, so your Echo is down, but there's still one in CC if you want to go for an effective top floor clear. And Thumbus waiting to see if anyone vaults in the window, but he may not be aware someone's coming in the door. He'll find one, but won't be able to get the other one back on the window, as now we are in a 3v3. Make that a 2v3 as Ghost finds one on the bio, and now the defense starts to crumble a little bit as Spades will have to hold on from all the way back inside break room and hope that Prod's able to stave off any entrance from Armory all by himself. He will down Trippin, so that's Diffuser down on the outside, but his position is given away, and he'll finish off the kill before he's able to get picked up. One very quick shot won't land onto Drip, as Drip will now try to go for one quick fragment inside. Spades grabs his kill onto Ghost, and now it's all the pressure sitting onto Drip. He'll need to grab the diffuser and start making his way back around, but it won't be, as Spades finds another kill sitting inside security. And that is why you gotta go for an effective an effective CCTV clear in order to make sure that you've got enough on Armory to actually make an effective push onto the site.
I really like that hold from EXG 2.0. I really liked it. Of course, as we were talking about that security hold, playing players inside of there seemed to be really, really effective. That Mozzie from Spades just doing so much work in the utility. That information denial, of course, always huge with that operator, and they utilized it perfectly in that round. And then winning their gunfights, of course, always important, but it can't be understated in that round in particular. When you've got guys roaming pretty far from the bomb site, I know they weren't that far, but for Armory Lockers, that's pretty far. You've got guys like pretty far away from the bomb site. They don't necessarily have the support. They did have two roamers outside of there, and they were able to work together pretty effectively, hit their shots when they had to, and yeah, I love that defense. No shade thrown to PogChamp. They weren't able to crack it. They did get a fair amount of kills in that round, and probably when they come back to it, I would expect in round number 4, they'll hopefully have some adaptations for it, but for now, we're going to head off over to Ventilation Workshop again.
Yeah, we'll see how quickly it comes back to all the way back up to Armory and Lockers. It'll be another 2 rounds before we can get to that point, and it does seem like it's a similar play in that you want to throw all of your utility, all your defensive utility up top and start preparing for everybody from PogChamp to make their way upstairs before working their way back down. Everything is the same. If I start sounding like a broken record, it's because it's done the same way over and over and over again. And it's good that both teams do recognize the importance of trying to keep that top floor already cleared out if you're the attack, or fully secured if you're the defense, because of that one round right before the end of the half with the denied diffuser attempt all the way downstairs on ventilation. And that is where we will sit on this one as bullets and explosives begin to fly everywhere on the top floor, as that is where this clear will begin. It's Chala looking for any of those castle barricades and try to actually begin to roam. That's why Castle is such a powerful operator. If you're not able to knock out those barricades, all of a sudden you're wasting your time punching the things. That's why it's good to have as much soft destruction as PogChamp has in its hands at the moment.
Spades was about to go for something aggressive, perhaps. Yeah, and it looked like it paid off. Drip hitting the floor thanks to that aggressive move from Spades. So again, he's really just doesn't want to lose this game. He's getting aggressive in places when he has to, and it seems to be working out really, really well for him. Success in spades, you could say, if you really wanted to get punny with it. Bio again holding inside of those offices. Haha. Despite the fact that they're not holding the same bomb sites last time, it is another heavy emphasis hold on these top floors, offices in particular. A little bit farther, you're playing with a lot of ACOGs, but I like that. Spades with another run out. The upside down repel, though, just a little bit too strong. Pushing his luck a little bit there.
Yeah, on the upside down repel, it's a little bit harder to find those heads when you're trying to focus on it being other way around, and Spades was about to get detected either way. So even if he wasn't able to connect the kill, he might have been done for regardless. But it does even the man count out at a 4-4 with just about half of the round left, as Bile will try to hold things down, waiting for anybody to start pushing onto the balcony, but no one has gone for it just yet, and he's got Thumbus to back him up in case things go south, with enough cover still happening from downstairs as Jarvis tries to look for any peeks inside, but Thumbus will be the one to find him, and it just doesn't work out as the push still trying to happen, as Ghost does nab prod all the way with a headshot on the outside, and now he's finding another one as he's not outside, he's already in. He's by the bomb site, he just doesn't have diffuser in hand, and now he's got to go through Crusher. The two of them fight on equal sides of Workshop, as Trippin with the diffuser will have to try to find his way back inside. Thumbus will knock out Shala, but the fight's still happening, and Ghost will be the one to win it. His third on the round, trying to knock out the Jaeger as he comes back down. That is a 4K for Ghost, moving his way into the site as quick as ever, and taking out almost every member of EXG before they even knew what was happening.
Ghost on Workshop, man. Like, you'd think he's a carpenter in his spare time because he's just gotten so many frags across the map in that area. He's been fantastic. I mean, Ghost is a player. He's had a lot of ups and downs in his career. I mean, he's obviously his highs were sort of back on like Sonics when he was playing in Pro League, and before that as well, had some Pro League experience. Now, of course, been back or knocked off of that roster in CL Quals once again. But man, oh man, this guy has some real moments of greatness, and you love to see it coming out. He's been fantastic so far in this matchup, and of course getting the final 4 kills to even out the score, 4-4. Really, really well done by him. Again, a bit of a hectic round all around by both squads, but some big individual plays, despite the fact that Spades kind of threw his life away after he got his first kill in that one.
Yeah, Spades still trying to prove that he has all of the gun skill in his pocket for today, and he's just trying to show that he can frag out, as there will be one more game that he and the rest of his team will play as soon as this one is over and done with. So it may still be to his credit to try to go for as many frags as possible, because he is still on the Mozzie. He was rocking the buck before, and excuse me? This man is just greedy for kills.
Oh no, Spades.
He wants it. However he can get it, he desperately just wants to pad his stats. Oh no.
That's unlucky.
Well, now I think at this point he kind of has to frag out to make up for the fact that he just knocked out one of his own.
It's been a very...
Another man who was probably going to help him roam too. That's not a good one to knock out.
It's been an up and down game for Spades. He's had some highs, he's had some lows. That might be his lowest so far.
Oh, man. You love to see it, you also hate to see it. It's one of those things where you, as a copper or a casual, can be like, yeah, I do that to my teammates all the time, but in a pro setting, it's not acceptable, man. You gotta watch it.
As a caster, this happens to me quite often. That's... yes.
As somebody who's in the community now, yeah, it's happening to me too. Someone get me out, please. Can I just turn the clock back 2 months? That'd be amazing.
Let's take a look
I
at
just want to play
this,
Siege, man.
Dude, me too. I want to watch Siege as well, though, because this game in particular has been a barn burner. Jarvis, some good bit of information there. Actually catching the Mozzie off guard with one of those drones. Some irony as Spades is just working his way, focusing on these floorboards. Again, it's been a top floor hold, so you're worried about that top floor pressure. You've only got 3 guys up here because, again, Jarvis shot, or Spades shot one, so not going to be alive to help roam up on that top floor. Prod actually dropping downstairs, so you've got him down there to try to hold on to the anchor side of things. So far, the soft destruction and hard destruction have been going pretty well for the attackers. They've worked their way inside, obviously keeping everybody alive. Maybe not for long. Thumbus is looking for a kill, but hasn't found one just yet. It's been more or less passive. Drip finds one instead. Spades, you said he kind of had to perform in this round, and that is not going to count as performing. That does. Thumbus at least tries to equalize on a Ghost, but still finds himself at a one-man disadvantage.
Still about half the round to go, and there's still plenty of chances. Trippin and Thumbus starting to trade blows back outside on the armory wall, and this will be a big frag if he's able to knock out that diffuser, but he does have Drip right in with him if he's able to take it down, and Thumbus does indeed take it down, so now it'll be up to the sledge to grab diffuser and start to rotate in. I'm not sure if Thumbus knows that there's one more outside, and Jarvis grabs one more onto Bio. I'm not really sure where Bio was positioned as he was trying to go for one peek back on the armory, and Drip will find Thumbus finally sitting back behind half wall. Now, before we even knew what was happening, it's all up to Prod. And he's not sitting near the site either. He's got to find his way back down as all of vertical play is now firmly in the hands of PogChamp, as they're trying to find out exactly where the castle is sitting, and any bolts that they fire in this moment will land approximately nowhere to castle unless they've got more coverage on the front doors. Now that is where the attack from EXG will begin to focus a little bit more heavily. Now Prod still anything that he can do. It's a 1v3 situation. And time is on his side, but Chala is immediately going for that diffuser plan, as now he'll have to rotate around. Jarvis in a pretty good position to try to wait for this roam back to come through, and he looks away at the wrong second and doesn't go for that kill. And now we just sit here in a waiting game, waiting for somebody to peek, and it'll all be up to Prod, as now that diffuser is down, and there's still plenty of coverage from any of the windows if anyone tries to go back for that plan, and there's still the vertical play as well. It's just everything swarming all around Prod. Nothing he can do, with plenty of utility and angles being held by his opponents. You were right. The word barn burner is 100% the word to use for this match right now.
PogChamp have an interesting way of dealing with problems. They peak them time and time again. It doesn't really matter what the situation is. It seems like the answer always is just let's peak, which has worked out for at least 5 of these rounds. I don't know. There's a lot of times where specifically I'm thinking like Thumbus sitting back behind half wall. You can go for some grenades. Obviously there's ADSs, but maybe you try to burn them out. No, not for PogChamp. They're just taking these gunfights, and they've got really good some gun skill on their team, right? Obviously guys like Ghost, guys like Trippin, guys like Drip have proven themselves time and time again. The other 2 players on this team as well, maybe playing more support roles. Jarvis on some fragging roles as well, though. Definitely have the shots to do it. But I'd like to see maybe a little bit more utility usage coming out from PogChamp. Obviously, they're winning this match so far, 5-4. It's been a bit of a close one. But to me, it seems like this team has a higher potential than EXG 2.0. I hate to say that because, again, both these teams look so good. But it just seems like maybe there's a few small things that could be improved from PogChamp, but they could really be a top-tier team. Either way, though, they find themselves up with a 1-round advantage. They're going to be attacking up against Armory Lockers again, as it's been opened up since we're here on round number 10. And as I was mentioning the last time we were at this bomb site, I'm hoping we see a little bit more adaptation coming out from PogChamp, because the first time they attacked onto this bomb site, they did struggle a little bit with the defense being held, and of course that security hole that was being utilized by EXG 2.0. I'm hoping there's a little bit more of some anti-Mozzie measures being brought out this time.
I mean, if the only anti-Mozzie measure you have to worry about is putting a bullet through his head, then I'm sure that PogChamp, with the pure amount of times they've been peeking in this match, are certainly happy to oblige him. But you're right, the intel meta, as of this point, has securely been in EXG's favor, and somehow they're still down by a round. And after one successful Armory Lockers defense, hopefully they'll be able to pull a second one out of their bag, as Thumbus will be the one to sit on the Jaeger back inside security, and he will have Spades to sit in there with him as everybody else starts to take up positions in and around the top floor, and the rest of the bomb site is now we'll wait and see exactly how PogChamp wants to play this one. There's no pest sitting on the inside of Armory Lockers, so that means the Trippin's got free roam to pop one inside, and somehow the Echo doesn't understand where that one is. So he'll have free passage in, and now he knows that he's moved back away from the half wall. So he probably does have enough clearance to go for an exothermic charge on the wall if he wants, but you still have Thumbus to worry about. Remember, the last time at these 2 teams, or the last time at the attack was on Armory Lockers, the entirety of the defense was centered around how fast they were able to hold this room right here, right where Thumbus is sitting, and that won't be the case anymore. Drip whips one nade out and finds him immediately, and now that's almost all your presence out of that room. Completely flustered now as Spades has opted to rotate back out of the site, and Chala's got all the drone coverage he needs. He now knows that everything in break room and security is totally clear, so you can start making your way back onto that side and maybe even throw an exothermic up on an armory wall now if Trippin moves in fast. Still one outside on the balcony. He'll see if he can't find Spades. He only punches it. He doesn't go back for a peek through it. He's just trying to let him know that, hey, I'm here. Don't go anywhere. Jarvis grabs Crusher, and now we're sitting in a 5-on-3. PogChamp now starting to make their way back into the site. Smokes do come in, but the diffuser sitting up on the top is now you got only one member of PogChamp now back inside Lockers looking for more kills. He'll find one, but he immediately gets traded down by Prod. We sit in a 2v4, and the diffuser's still not coming back to site fast enough. A whole bunch of wall bangs come through, and no kills are found. PogChamp just cleans house. No ground given. No, all the ground given by EXG, and just pure intel. Everything works out in the favor of PogChamp from an intel perspective, and it gives them a round win. They sit on match point, and for the first time, I think we finally have a 2-round lead for a team in this game.
Yes, this is the first 2-round lead, I do believe. Totally. So well done by PogChamp. That's the adaptation I was looking for. And that's even going back to the last round, what I was talking about, right? You're not peeking everything. You're going for those grenade kills. That's exactly what they utilize to take control of the security area. They get the intel as you were talking, and then they go for the nade. Beautifully thrown by Drip. He's able to open up that area of the map, and now you don't have to worry about people flanking on you. Now you can focus on just charging like 5 guys into the bomb site. That's exactly what they did. It worked out for them quite well. Made it in, and they managed to win those gunfights to go for a plant if they needed. Get those frags and finish things up. Really, really well executed. Pretty much exactly the standard adaptation you're looking for. For round number 11, are we sticking on armory lockers? I didn't see. Yes, we are. So,
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Let's try it again from the guys on EXG 2.0. Now it's going to be sort of back in their court. Well, now you've got to be able to hold on to this, despite the fact that the enemy team is going to be throwing grenades at you. They're going to be dealing with these pests a lot better than they did that first time you defended here.
Drones were the entire reason that PogChamp were able to win that round out, which is kind of confusing because there's a Mozzie on the field, and I think there might have been one drone that was captured by a Mozzie pest, but the other two weren't able to capitalize on any of the intel gathering that was occurring on PogChamp's side. I'm trying to figure out, you got a Mozzie, but where are you putting those pests that all of a sudden they become ineffectual to the rest of the intel gathered by your opponent? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And yeah, he does have all of them utilized now, as his inventory is empty of any more of those devices, but the intel game is still strong with this one. As I believe that, yep, Crusher, he's the one on the Echo finding one drone back inside ventilation, but that won't matter, as that's not the bomb site unless you want to start working your way up. You do have Jarvis on the Zofia, so if you wanted to start destroying anything in ventilation, maybe force the Echo back out of that position, then that is definitely an option. And it looks as though intel seems to be the name of the game for EXG in this case. If you can't steal it away from PogChamp, you might as well bring it yourself, as you got both an Echo and a Valkyrie sitting on the board. And Thumbus, again, will take up his spot in the corner of security, and it all seems standard, but we'll have to see how it works out. Oh, man! Immediately refragged his Drip, but I don't understand him going for a sandwich push when the rest of his team just didn't seem like they were in position to pressure him off of the window. It seems like it was kind of a waste, but if anything, they do knock Bio out of the equation as well.
Especially questionable since Drip was so effective in getting these guys out of security in the last round. I'm not sure what he was doing over by Sandwich. Maybe he was just going for a quick peek and then he was going to rotate around and deal with security. But of course, there's always the risk that you're going to get blown up, and that's exactly what happened. Beautiful play coming out from the guys on EXG 2.0 to shut down Drip, and now you find yourselves in a 4-on-4. Not a bad trade from Bio, in my opinion. He's really happy to be able to get that 1-for-1. You're holding on to things a little bit safer. You still got Thumbus and Spades inside of security, and again, the time when they won this bomb site, those two players did a whole lot of work in denying a ton of time, denying all the players from ever securing this area. You can tell they've got some drones. Spades standing right beside it, and that's going to feed information to him. Knows there's another one behind too, and he pushes outside to get it. He gets traded off eventually from Chala, but I don't think it's going to matter. No, it does not. EXG was the good couple of frags, and well done by them. They took the round.
So again, if I'm not mistaken, both times that EXG have been able to effectively secure top floor by armory, it's been because of what they've done in security and in break room. Because Thumbus is alive both times in both rounds. He's up, still being able to grab frags. And even if he's not up, Spades is coming in and looking for anybody else back on the armory side. It just goes to show you exactly how important that room has been to the pushes that EXG have been trying to pull out. As soon as Crusher's down with a frag nade from Drip, I think it was 2 rounds ago, then they have full control of that room and they're able to make their push all the way through tellers. And in this case, it was not to be, as the frags do come out fast and quick. So one more round on the board before we head into an overtime situation. PogChamp win this one. PogChamp win, and they're done. EXG win this one, and now we're back into an RNG roll on who gets what role.
I love these types of matches, man. These ones where it goes all the way, we've got all the big names, where a whole lot is on the line. Of course, one of these two teams will not continue their undefeated streak in the North American Challenger League qualifiers. These are going to be two of the most well-respected teams to go far in these quals. These are two teams that you're expecting to probably meet again and again, both inside of these qualifiers and also once the actual season starts up, assuming they both make it. This is going to be a really interesting match to, I think, to analyze, because it's the first time these two squads are meeting in any official format. We're going to continue to see these guys go at it time and time again, and we're just starting to build up that rivalry. You'll love to see it develop, and this is definitely the beginning of things here. So many good things to come. As you mentioned, we're going into round number 12, which means it's either going to be overtime or it's going to be a 7-5 win for PogChamp. You're going to be holding downstairs because, of course, you have to. Armory lockers worked out for the defenders, which means that we're going to be on ventilation workshop. Oh, no, sorry, this custom supply. What am I talking about? Yeah, we haven't seen this bomb site yet. What do you think about it, Jacob?
In this case, I'm a little curious about why they don't opt for the one site, unless it's locked. I'm trying to go back in notes. Yeah,
no.
I think at this point it's not locked. So this is their call to go for the one site that hasn't been played yet. In my opinion, if anything, we're just looking at them trying to throw the attack off their game a little bit. Rather than attacking a very, very standard attack, which would have been the ventilation workshop side of things, you go to a different bomb site and now it forces everybody to start looking for different positions and different methods of attack. Everything will still hinge on being able to hold that top floor, as the nitro cell will be prepped and will immediately result in nothing, as there's nobody sitting on the sandwich. But there is Ghost, who's trying to work his way back through ventilation. Jarvis will find his first kill on Crusher, so your Echo's already gone, but you still have more of the intel, and Jarvis still taking a little bit more fire from the armory side, and he will back away before Thumbus is able to finish the kill, even if he wouldn't have been able to get himself up, because he is the Sophia. If anything, it's only because it does force you to find different methods of getting into the site, but it does still depend on how quickly Ghost can nab these kills. If he's able to pull out another performance like he did on the ventilation workshop side last time that EXG had gone for that bomb site, then maybe we'll be sitting at overtime once this one's all said and done, and it will come down to a very good performance from everybody on attack, as it is a 5 versus 3 in their favor with only less than half the round to go.
Huge kill from Jarvis getting that opening one onto the Echo. Not only is it a huge operator off of the board, but also you isolate Thumbus, so now he's pretty much a free pick for those attackers. Put yourself in a 2-man ad. This looks really, really good for you. You got to worry about Spades, who again has been up and down in this matchup so far. Doesn't find anybody in that engagement, but again, still going to be looking for it. This top floor totally forfeited by EXG 2.0. Still holding that bomb site, though. They're going to be worried about these guys dropping through the hatches. They're going to be worried about the soft floor up above them being destroyed. Spades is downstairs as well. Maybe trying to open up some holes in the ceiling. Go for some of that backwards vertical play. I like all of these holes that have been opened up. Exactly. He's got a super long angle inside of detention. That's where Ghost is at right now. The other side of it, Spades picks up a kill with rotation up to this top floor. Actually unexpected by Chala. Well done, but Ghost here getting a double. Prod is ready for him as Ghost charges in. PogChamp take the round, and with it the game. An explosive finish thanks to Jarvis's 2K. That'll be the match. 7-5 going in favor of PogChamp. They proved themselves the better team today. A barn burner, but it had to end eventually, Jacob. What a game.
It's not very often that you can walk into a Challenger League qualification match and walk out having known that you just watched 2 Pro League teams play one another. The caliber of play from both of them, very, very high level, and it's nice to see that everybody on both teams was performing, even though, we might have some questions. And yes, it may be Border, a map that you can, find predictable after enough time spent playing on it. But overall, very solid performance from both of them. And PogChamp will continue their undefeated streak in the Challenger League qualifiers as we move on to the next round.
Remember, folks, this wasn't the end of things for us. This was, of course, just the first match that we've casted on the channel for the night. We will have one more to come tonight as we start a little bit late. Usually there's 3 per night, but if our next game is anything as good as that last one was, then boy, oh boy, we're certainly blessed, because this has been a hell of a first matchup. And yeah, that's going to be it for us for now. Next round's going to start in about 20 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Go get a snack if you need to, but make sure you're back by then. We're going to be covering 2 more teams who will continue to battle out in these Challenger League Open qualifiers. See you soon. Don't go anywhere. Bye-bye.
Say the words, even if it hurts. We've been pretending nothing's wrong for far too long. Say it out loud, like you really mean it now. 'Cause this is the last time. We're at the crossroads, and I can't let it go. I try to make you stay, but you're already far away.
Twilight fuels the intoxication. No hesitation. I'm giving into this sweet sensation. I've been good, I've been bad, but this moment is all we really have. So when the night is calling, I pick up the phone. A voice is singing sweetly, you don't have to be alone.
want to get it back for us. You take your time, then let me know if you wanna stay or if you wanna go. I know you have difficulty knowing me, but you don't have difficulty showing me that we just need to get away. I'll take you on a wild adventure if you want to go. We're locked in places, sing together, please just let me know. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything. We haven't got unlimited time. Sun is out and you get to your prime. We're falling for love, we're falling for lust, we're falling through everything. You see the summer's getting closer. We don't feel like we are getting older. So show me what you have to bring. I'll take you on a wild adventure if you want to go. We're locked in places, sing together, please just let me know. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything.
You're telling me to breathe, but I can't catch your breath. You're telling me to sleep, but I can't bear to rest. Running through my blood like an animal, like an animal, like an animal. And I need to release the energy inside me, 'cause you make my world shake. I behave like an animal, like an animal, like an animal, like an animal, like an animal. Okay. Like an animal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Challenger League qualifiers. We got our last matchup of the night. I hope you've stuck around because that last matchup was a crazy close one. I hope we have at least somewhat as close of a matchup as we did the last time. It's going to be Bad Company versus Okami. My name is Jesse J. Chick. I'm again going to be joined by Crater as our observer and Caliber Jacob as my co-caster. We're back on Border, Jacob.
No, I mean, no, that's fine.
Be excited.
That's
Be
fine.
excited. There you go.
No, yay, dude! Oh my God, Border! I can't wait. It's incredible to see every team wanting to play the best map in the game in the competitive pool, bar none. Border, Pog. Anyway, uh,
Oh, boy.
I think we're waiting on one more to jump in here, and then we'll be totally set. It's Okami and Bad Company, both teams currently sitting at 4-1 in the qualifier standings, at least for this first qualifier. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Okami is fresh off of a loss, and Bad Company are sitting at 4-1, but they have one more win under their belt. They are 1-2 on the night. They're both teams are actually both 1-1 on the night as we stand. So one of them will be 2-1 when things square out with only one loss under their belt. So at the end of the day, it's not a bad way to end off the night for the winner of this one. But if you lose this match, then you're in a little bit more of hot water because now you only have one more game of flexibility heading into the rest of the rounds tomorrow evening. So this game definitely gives you more of a buffer depending on how fast or how hard you want to play it.
Totally. I mean, both teams have secured a spot for tomorrow, let's say. Of course, how these qualifiers work is there's 5 weeks and 3 days, 3 matches on each day. And if you lose 3 across a week, then you're done. You're done for the whole week, and you can come back next week unless it's week 5. Then you're done. So plenty of opportunities to play. That's 45 games total if you're keeping track, which is a lot of matches. Of course, if you choose not to participate in all of them, or if you lose early in some of them, which most teams will, then you won't be playing 45 matches. But for us casters, I mean, we're going to be catching as many of those as we can. Certainly, if you want to follow every single match, every night there should be some community casters at the very least covering some games. So there's always matches to watch. It's kind of the nice thing. I mean, it sucks that Challenger League isn't on right now and we have to resort to qualifiers. But it's nice that there's always sort of games on, and we do get to see like a wide variety of teams who might be able to make it in. So there's a lot of excitement in that sense.
There's also a point where teams that are already really high up in a bracket or have already, gone on a 5-game or a 6-game win streak in some cases might not necessarily need to play in later qualifiers, assuming that they've already got the amount of points that they need to securely make it into the 16-team bracket once we get to the close qualifiers. So it's not to say that everybody has to, play in every single qualifier match to get there, but in this case, for a first qualifier, you definitely want this win to secure your spot. So we're back on Border, and Capital will be one taken off the board, as was the exact same case last time. We'll see how closely the bans in this game mirrored the bans from EXG and PogChamp from last time.
So do note that Bad Company starting in blue will be defending first, and Okami will be attacking first. We are going to see our next attacker ban be Thermite. So okay, that's a bit of a different one from what we usually see on this map. Of course, Thermite very good here. Most people's operator of choice. However, recently in Pro League this season, and also in that most recent game, we have seen a fair amount of Habana get played. So okay, I probably that's going to be what Okami like to do, right? Maybe they're just a big Habana team and they don't want to have to deal with the Thermites. Very much a fair point. So I don't hate that ban inherently. Valkyrie, another big operator we saw getting a lot of play in the last matchup on Border, so that makes a lot of sense getting taken off of the board. And then our last ban coming out here, that's going to end up being an Echo. So neither of the same defensive bans from what we saw in that last match.
More intel getting taken off the board a lot faster in this case on the defensive side, and having one hard breacher ban on Border does make a lot of sense. We obviously saw a lot of I think every single round had a Habana on it at one point. If you take out a Thermite, you're basically forcing the other team to then play the opposite side hard breach, because unless you're really getting ballsy and you want to hinder both teams to the point that you can't hard breach anything, in which case you ban both of them and then hope that you're good enough with your Maverick play to start opening up holes. But not the case here, as Habana will basically, I think, if it's the same case from almost every other Border game I've seen, will be played on attack. Every single attack round, this game, someone's got a rocker.
Certainly. With Thermite gone, you got to bring a Habana, and this is going to be a pace-setting round from Okami. Of course, starting on the attack, they can kind of choose how fast the game's going to be played, and for round number 1, at the very least, we're going to be going real fast. I can already tell you that. Finka, probably the main rushing operator. She's definitely a red flag. If you're watching these competitive Rainbow Six matches, you see a Finka, you're probably expecting a rush strategy to come on out. couple that with an Ashe and a Buck and a Hibana, and you've got those Nomads for the flank watch as well. This definitely looks like something where they're going to get into that bomb site probably within the first 45 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, somewhere around that range. And they want to be planting as soon as possible. They want to be able to end this round quickly. Now, if that'll actually work out, of course, yet to be seen. Strategy is ups and downs. You're hoping that the enemy team gets caught off guard. Maybe they're not really watching the bomb site as closely as they should be. But as we just start off the attack phase of this round, be prepared for some explosive strategies coming out from Okami.
Anytime I see a Finka brought onto an attacker field, I'm just immediately transported to the grand finals of the 6-invite APAC qualifier. Probably some of the best Finka play you're ever going to see in a Pro League setting. It just, I don't want to say it's PTSD, but it shook Fnatic when they played Xavier trying to go up against those kinds of Finka strats. So if it's the same amount of effectiveness here on the side of Okami is yet to be seen, but we'll see whether that pick is effective and if it'll carry over into more rounds afterwards. The attack will start to culminate on the east side balcony, and everyone will start making their way in. They've already got a little bit of presence upstairs, but there's a little bit, I think, no, the entire team has basically abandoned the armory side, and no one's worried about CC. Everyone's started to barricade themselves up, and we'll start making a push toward offices, and it looks like Thunder on the Mozzie for Bad Company will be the first person to run into the members of Okami.
This wall not being reinforced is a huge downside coming up from the defenders. It's really something the Bad Company are going to need to watch out for. Maybe they're planning for it, though, because they're going to get up 2 kills. Dirty and Raiden both going to get a couple of headshots, and that's definitely going to look good to stop this rush push in its tracks. It was going to be a bit of a delayed rush, but now it doesn't look like it's going to be a rush at all. Of course, your frag grenades off of the board, then also those charges to actually boost you up and get you in from Finka, also not going to be able to get utilized at all. So this is huge from the defense. Now you got a bit of a scattered attack coming back in. Lemon still pushing in from behind, from main hallway right now, so he could come in for a bit of a pinching maneuver. But you've really got to utilize your pieces on this board very carefully because you can't afford to give up even one more.
In this case, it does make it interesting because there's no longer any attacks coming from the armory side or anything from CCTVs. The first kill for Okami will come with Benji finding the Mira and taking that off the board to start with. And the attack commences on Fountain as it looks like the A side's basically been abandoned by the attack unless they want to make a rotate. They do have a minute left with which to do so. And then it'll just be the Hibana holes being opened up with those X-Kairos pellets through any hole, trying to just look for some long peeks down towards the B side. And it almost seems as though the attack from Okami is kind of stalling out here as they try to figure out exactly how they want to play this. It's a one-man down advantage as Raiden finds another headshot on Lemon, looking for one more, and he'll get it. That's 3 kills for Raiden, sitting on the Maestro, and he's gone all over the map to try and find those, and Braindead will clean it up with Flak being the final casualty. And the attack all the way on Fountain side, and not having to reinforce that wall, doesn't really matter in the end. And they'll pick up their first round.
I was really worried about that wall not being reinforced, and I was going to say credit to Okami to catching that and then trying to, or utilizing it to their advantage to win the round, but of course they lost that round, and I think that's because it was almost a trap set by Bad Company, right? They knew that that was going to be a very tempting offer that they gave to the attackers. They're probably going to send a lot of people there, so what do? Well, we just light them up the second they open that wall up, and that's exactly what they do. Huge credit to Dirty and Raiden, of course, who got the opening couple of kills, and then Dirty, of course, getting a lot of kills to follow that up as well. It's helpful when you got an Alda in your back pocket. It's a nice gun to work with, and certainly Raiden is no stranger to it. So, yeah, great opening round from Bad Company. A team that I would say are probably the underdogs in this matchup.
In this case, probably. Okami certainly having a little bit more reputation, or more people will know who they are, if only because they've played in USN qualifiers. They've had a little bit more action on the main Rainbow Six Twitch channel for more competitive play against some pretty big names. So the name of the team itself is definitely one to watch out for from a North American competitive perspective. And now we'll get off of the top floor site and start working our way downstairs. Bad Company, not to say that they aren't going to be able to hold their own, but after one round, you certainly hope that you're able to keep that momentum going against a team like Okami, who, as I said, has had that kind of performance in those sorts of matchups before, and certainly wasn't bad when they played against top-tier teams at their level.
So we switch bomb sites, as of course we now have to, and the attackers have definitely changed up the strategy a little bit. Kilo moving over to the Zofia makes a lot of sense. They're still bringing a lot of frag and operators, right? You've still got an Ashe, a Twitch, a Zofia, and then like Hibana and Buck are no strangers to getting frags either. So this is very light on utility. They're going to be focused on winning those gunfights, and that's not inherently a bad strategy, but it is something that we don't really see a lot at the highest level of play for Siege. So it'll be interesting to see what they want to do. I'm assuming it's just like, let's get into this top floor and let's start like winning gunfights. Kind of like how PogChamp were playing in that last matchup where they really did just go for peaks. Interesting here that mirror window's been opened up by Raiden as well. They've set it up so that they have like an angle to work through and they can see through it, but they've also not been afraid to take some shots through it. That's a really interesting way to play mirror.
That could very well have been a Twitch drone also knocking that one
True,
out too.
good
I don't know.
point, good point.
If we can swap back over to the Twitch and see if they've still got both of those drones up, then that might be the case. It's totally possible that it was indeed the Maestro who barrels that one open to look for more peaks on the armory side, and he'll just keep on sitting behind half wall as he waits for someone to hit the armory balcony and start going for some easy picks, maybe through CC as well. And that's where a lot of these flashbangs will start coming up from below as they try to knock out that top floor presence. And first frag grenade will find Raiden, so no more 3K all to plays for Raiden as he gets taken off the board. And Dirty will try to hold onto the top floor almost by himself. He does have one teammate sitting behind him on the back's room objective as well in case there needs to be more of a push. And bad timing on the Nitro Cell as now he has to rotate away from the hole, and all 3 X-Kairos pellets have now been used up, and it'll just be a matter of time before the rest of Okami start to purge their way onto the top floor and begin to work their way through the remainder of the map.
I love those Habana usage by Flak, able to open up 2 just on the wall, and then 1 getting an angle in a small office as well. Not too bad. Dirty prepping the window to jump out, but Benji is watching it. Oh no, but he turns away at the wrong moment. He hears it, and he wins 1 gunfight. Can't get the second. Gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. Braindead Aimer jumps on out and is able to get the return frag, so that's something helpful when you send 2 players out. Dirty's on very little HP though, so that's definitely something you gotta watch out for. I believe still on that top floor and even down.
I believe
so...
Dirty's he's down all the way
down
outside vents right now.
Oh, that's a terrible position to be in. Okay. Lamon finishes off Bayesian in the end. So this is basically a 2-on-4, going much better for the attackers. Flak about to get that plant down. There it goes, despite the pings coming out. He's got cover. Braindead Aimer can't shoot through a hard desk, I believe he's sitting behind right now. So that's helpful. You've now got every attacker running outside so they can try to hold windows and stop this from a little bit farther back. Use those ACOGs to your advantage. Braindead Aimer trying to get back in. Benji finding Dirty, so that's going to finish off the last player. He just was able to let him bleed out. 2-on-4 now. This is still going to be halfway through that disable. Braindead Aimer finds Kilo, so that's 1 that you got to find out of 4. Getting detected outside, and a perfectly timed shot from Lamon finds Braindead outside of the main door as well. But now Thunder's been caught off guard, and everybody knows where he's at. He's going to get a kill into Lamon regardless. He's got no time, though. He brings out the P12. Runs around until he eventually gets finished off by Flak. That's going to be Okami winning round number 2, and a really smart one by them.
Flak just determined to not go for the bandit, even though his position was revealed for a good 5 or 10 seconds as he runs outside looking for picks. He's like, nah, that kill can just come to me. I'm not going to go to it. I'll save my KD for a little bit. Now the ventilation workshop will still be a viable option. That's where Bad Company heads in for round number 3, and it looks to be a similar setup. Not nearly as much top floor play as we saw during the PogChamp EXG game, but there definitely should still be more of that. Probably not a lot of play because every operator who was playing on the top floor on a defensive side was taken out pretty early on. The Maestro was the first casualty, and then the Mira later on getting down and all the way back outside, rendered essentially useless, which gives everybody on Okami the clearance that they need to then move back onto the site and make an effective push, and then just sit back and wait for the kills to come to them. Because if you're already down by 3 people and no one knows where you're at, then you're not going to be able to get to that diffuser until you take all of the remaining bodies out. So we'll head back to the site one more time and see whether that Maestro can stay alive long enough to, actually do something. Raiden, I want more Alda kills, man. I love it when those happen.
So I did like the utility usage quite a lot from Okami. I said at the very start of the round that the lineup really is light on utility, but they made a lot of work off of what they brought. Both with Prompt getting a frag grenade kill on, I believe Raiden it was, who was playing upstairs.
It was Raiden, yeah.
Yeah, as you were talking about. So he ended up getting taken down by one of those grenades. And then also, again, the X-Kairos used really well. Thanks to that mirror window being opened up, as you mentioned, probably by the Twitch. That probably wasn't the Maestro who had done that. You get that to open up a bit of the wall, and then you can open up another little bit with the X-Kairos. You have some left over to get into the armory desk where they're playing right now. So, yeah, that was really smart utility usage, despite the fact that they're not bringing a lot. And I think those extra guns really helped them out in their firefights. So, yeah, I thought that attack went really well from Okami. They're going to try it again. No changes from either side, really, at least in terms of operators and bomb sites. Maybe some position strategies have changed up. Maybe some playstyles wouldn't surprise me. But the very start of this round, I'm not noticing a whole lot. Again, it's going to be a pretty heavy top floor hold. You've got 4 up here, which is pretty common. But the mirror window usage, very different from what we're usually seeing on this map.
It's looking like a pretty standard setup as Kilo finds the first one on Bayesian, looking for, I'm trying to figure out if that was a run. No, but he got the kill just sitting back inside ventilation room. And again, there's a little bit less top floor play being executed on this side, as now if they do just choose to try to go for as many fights as possible, maybe use those drones to just scope out any player and go for the kill as opposed to taking out an opposite utility, then they've got a little bit more of an option to just hit the downstairs rather than worrying about their verticality control. As Dirty will try to find any angle onto the front door before anyone starts bursting in, and the drones will come out from Kilo, as now everybody on the top floor on the defensive side is kind of trying to figure out where everyone's at. Nope, there is one. There's Flack. I was waiting for somebody to come up on the top floor, and he won't go for the mirror window peek, and Leymon will find another one, so you're mirror off the board immediately, and we're only halfway back through the round, and then now it turns into a 5v3, and it just kind of looks like everyone on the defense is trying to look for picks, but nobody on Okami is really giving it to him except for the Jaeger, who does find Leymon sitting in the bathroom, and then he'll try to even the count up a little bit more, but it'll still take more time and more bodies off the table before this becomes a beneficial play for Bad Company on the defensive half. We'll find 2 more sitting downstairs already on the outside, and that's a 3K. Yep, that is 3 kills, but it'll just be 3 kills as Benji will finish it off and bring us back into a 2v2 with about a minute left and still having diffuser control. Okami could definitely still turn this around.
This one's going to get tight. 50 seconds on that clock. You got very little health left alive on the Bandit, so you're worried about that a little bit. Benji's lost a tiny bit as well. Probably not going to be hugely impactful. You do have that diffuser in his hands, though, so that could be something to think about if he goes down going for the plant. He'll run in now and get in position to go for it. Here he starts the plant now. Hearing it on the defensive side, they know they need to push. They get the intel, but again, he's planning behind that hard wall, and that's going to hurt. Raiden comes around and finds Prompted and gets the second one, too. That's going to be an easy cleanup. There goes the Disable coming up from Thunder, and that'll be a 2-1 lead going in favor of Bad Company. Good clutch at the end of the round there. That looked like it was slipping away from him.
So being light on utility for Okami's side on the second round doesn't turn into their favor in the third one. So I guess the question becomes, what do you do on your operator select to maybe swap things up a little bit? Because if we should be going back upstairs to Armory Lockers, and it should... Yep, there we go. If anything, you're looking for those frag grenades to clear out any more of the utility. Obviously, you only have Jaeger to stop anything or any other projectiles from coming in. And obviously, an operator like Wamaya is not yet in play from a competitive standpoint. So you can still whip things into the objective site and go for gadget or operator kills all in the same go. But it looks like it'll still be, if I'm not mistaken, that is the same lineup from Okami. And it doesn't look as though Bad Company is really that interested in making any changes to their lineup either. So it should, if anything, the only thing that we haven't seen since round 1 is that Finka back, which disappoints me a little because I really want to see some top tier Finka play, man. We don't get to see that very often.
Sorry. Yeah. My cat was snoring really loud, and I had to wake her up because I was worried he would get caught.
Wait, what?
I know. Coming into round 4, yeah, this has been it's been a close game. I don't know. I think that coming back to Armory Lockers is probably a smart move, right? They won it the very first time. They come back, and again, I think you're looking for adaptation on the attack. They haven't brought the Finka, as you were talking about, in that between round phase. So that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine, because you're not going for that rush strategy twice. It really failed the first time, and it's even if it worked, you don't try that twice. I think this time they'll probably be a little bit more cautious at offices if they go for it again, which I wouldn't hate if they did. They just need to be aware that it's probably a trap. And this time around, I don't know if they have they reinforced the office walls?
I don't know if the back wall's been reinforced yet. If there's anybody sitting, I don't even know if it's anybody sitting in office or by fountain side.
If
anything, there's
there's 2
no,
bodies.
there's 2 of them over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they may have, if not the wall reinforced, they may still be prepared to take something from that side. The wall itself is soft. Okay, so if anything, they're just waiting for a push to come back through on that balcony if they want to blow the wall back open. It could still be a similar thing the last time. I think Bad Company should definitely be expecting a push to come from that way, but they shouldn't be expecting Okami to think that it is a trap similar to last time, because you're right, that did play very well into Bad Company's hands with Okami just kind of assuming that, oh, they didn't reinforce this wall, so this is an easy way to go. But it may not turn out to be the case this time. We'll have to see if they want to play that side nearly as aggressively. Prompted's first frag and Okami's first frag of the round is Raiden, so Maestro is the first frag immediately for the second round already in this game. So now you still have the intel up if he's got both of his cameras, but that's not going to matter much if you've got Buck, who can just knock those out promptly with his frag grenades, and Benji will find another one. That's Thunder off the board, so you don't have anything to stop anything on those hard breach attempts, and now your Maestro's gone, so now it's looking bleaker and bleaker for Bad Company by the second, and nothing is happening on that far wall push. Everything is happening through Armory instead.
It's been an interesting focus of the downstairs area from the defenders. Clearly not working out for them at all. It's brain dead Aimer, the third player to go down. 2 of them on that first floor, so you're a little bit worried about that. You're leaving now just Bayesian and Dirty to try to hold on to the bomb site in a 2-on-5. Almost unwinnable. Not unwinnable. We've seen this before, but the stats on this are quite bad for the defenders in the situation. At least Prompted is low, so that's something you got going for you. But again, there's so many good guns on the enemy team that it's going to be really hard to win this with a couple of SMGs. Flack's going for this plant, and it looks like he's going to get it down. Kilo takes a bit of damage outside on the ventilation window, and there goes Dirty with a nice C4 to actually stop it. But again, the plant going down is going to be a pretty horrible one. Z-Flat comes back around, and it looks like Benji finds Dirty, which means the 4-on-1. Bayesian smoked the last player left alive. He doesn't even know where he's being shot from. This round seems all but done. Yes, it is. He runs out in the open, and Flack is waiting for him. Round 4 goes to Okami. We find ourselves at a tied game once again.
Nothing like a couple of qualifier games to keep things really, really close, and if nothing else, give you a bit of a preview of what to expect from Season 11 once we get through the whole qualifier process. And if nothing else, this is just an indicator of, hopefully, if these teams opt not to make too many roster changes, hopefully we'll be able to see a really, really good 16-man qualification bracket, and we'll get a lot of these guys back in there at some point. Because remember, it's not as though these teams are secret, or these players within them are any strangers to Challenger League or any higher forms of the competitive scene. Obviously nothing nearly as high as Pro League, but it is good to see more competition from North America be able to basically stop each other in their tracks like these two teams have to start with. So we'll move back off of Armory Lockers again. And no, we're back on it again. Never mind. Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. They lost it. What am I talking about? But we'll go back to it one more time. It's a 1-1 record for both teams on this site to start with. It's 1 attack win and 1 defense win. So nothing changing from the attacking side. All the guns, all the operators remain the same. Actually, for both teams, it remains exactly the same. So any changes that they want to make will come out in their setup strategy. And now that office wall, for the first time on this site, has been reinforced. So if they wanted to go for a take through offices or fountain, it'll be a little bit harder, as you got to make sure that Habana stays alive the entire time.
It's been good objective play coming out from Okami. There's 3 rounds in a row now where they've managed to get the plant down. One of them, of course, they still lost. But, I mean, you'd like to see those diffusers getting down. It kind of depends a lot on team playstyle, but also on the map and the operators that are being played. And even the playstyle of the defense can matter quite a bit on how many plants you get down. Still, though, it's nice to see from your support players in particular. I think Flack has been really, really phenomenal so far in this matchup, both in getting kills, some clutch positions where he's been in. He's played pretty well despite not winning all of them. And, of course, getting those plants down. He's been good so far in the Habana. I really like what I'm seeing from him. Looking at this defensive setup, as you noticed, it was a very different one from what we see. The mirror window being utilized in every single round so far from Bad Company. Raiden going to be able to utilize one of those? No, he doesn't have one actually any longer in this position. He's just going to win it. Because of that, Alda, a headshot onto Lemon, brings the Twitch off of the board. That's a good one to see it taken off the board. I mean, you like to see those guns getting down early. Again, there's a lot of good guns over on the side of Okami, but hey, that's one less you got to worry about.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how Raiden is playing into the rest of this strategy. He'll sit behind half wall and use that ACOG on the Alda to hit back on Armory, but every time he's played in this game, he's either getting the first kill or he's the first one to be killed. So it seems as though a lot of Bad Company's strategy kind of seems to hinge on the play of the Maestro in some circumstances, and it'll go back to an even round count as Prompted knocks out the Mira. A little bit more of that intel is removed, no longer having those black mirrors to give you more of that intel right on the spot. And Raiden, what? Moving right in from the Armory side, bursting into CCTV, looking for a frag, just getting a little bit too hungry. It does knock out the Buck, but it's not enough to take him down as Kilo grabs 1, but it gets the refrag, and Jaeger moving back up into the site. He's already got 2, will clean up the Meister plus 1 more, and now Benji's got to try to find him back inside, and he is taken down by Flack. So it does put the man count right back into Okami's favor, but Thunder's got a pretty advantageous position in case anybody pushes back from the CCTV side, and the droning all the more important here to try to figure out where Thunder is to get an effective clear and give Okami their third round if they can find it. It does look as though he's been found out, and now Hibana can start looking a little bit more towards that armory side. They've got Diffuser in hand. They still have plenty of time to make a rotate if they don't want to worry about it, but they may well be going for a pinch. Ash on one side and Hibana on the other. It doesn't leave the bandit in a very advantageous position. He'll have to fight his way out, grab one kill, and immediately flick to the other side. The pings come out, waiting for someone to come in, but he fakes it. He doesn't go all the way towards the door, and Okami will clean up. They'll trade. Thunder and Benji both finding one kill apiece, and leaves the Hibana alive as Okami claim their... That's another round on... Yeah, never mind.
Okami,
I said it.
Yeah, you got it.
They got it, yes. What I was going to say is that's now 2 wins for Okami on the Armory Lockers, and we're just going to head right back to it.
I didn't actually love the way that Okami played that final 2v1. When you're in a pinch position like that, I mean, the setup was really good. You know you can go for a pinch. That's an unlosable situation as long as you're well coordinated. At that point in time, I mean, going for the plant probably wasn't the play from Flack. If he had supported his teammate, that was for sure a win. It didn't matter because, again, they traded with each other, so you had the player advantage. You're going to win that round regardless. But that was potential to lose it, and where they really didn't need to. In terms of the early rounds that went down, a lot of fighting inside of security. Again, we saw a bit of a different hold, and it was reacted to really, really well, really quickly from Okami. So that's always good to see, especially from these lower level teams where you don't know if the coordination, if the IGLing is really going to be up to par. That's maybe one of the areas where lower teams kind of struggle with a lot more than like pro league teams do. But I don't know who it is, but whoever the IGL is on Okami, huge credit to that round to being able to decide what to do for this round and really call out this play as soon as they saw it.
It's honestly a good point, and I think in a situation like that, it's almost like the pressure's kind of been taken off of you because you have one member of your team that's alive that can still drone you out, and then you can start to play the entry. And in that case, you give it to the Ash because the Ash isn't the one with the diffuser, and in the event that the Ash is the first one to die, then you've still got Hibana in a good spot, still sitting all the way in Armory that had a good chance to plant even if the Ash was still taken out of play. But to Benji's credit, he does find the bandit, and they kill each other, resulting in a very successful attack from Okami, and it gives them, I believe this is their first lead of the game, as it was Bad Company to start the game off with a round win. And now it looks like we may have a little more of an aggressive CCTV hold, as now you slap the mirror in there waiting for anybody to move in, and you also have the Jaeger to watch down break room as well as the rest of that hallway.
So again, a similar hold coming out from Bad Company. You've again got the mirror window in secured. You're going to be looking out this way. Thunder's here as well to support from inside a fountain. It's a safe position to be playing inside of. I think you really got to be focused on this plant. That's 4 rounds in a row, where the plant has been at least attempted. They didn't get it finished last time around, but they didn't really need to. Surely it would have gone down if Flack had the time. Focusing on that plant denial is going to be huge. Now, Lemon on the upside down rappel is about to find himself a frag if he's fast enough, but it doesn't look like he is. Dirty actually wins that amazing shot on a Lemon. That's something you don't see every day.
The Maestro wants a little bit more in case they can get right back outside, and Prompted is not indeed prompted to start moving back outside. He'll move into CCTV and go right for the mirror play, and everybody starts to get traded back out as Benji clears effectively everything sitting in break room, and now you've got more control over that side as Kilo on the Zofia comes in and joins him. And now Raiden will start to move back away from the armory wall, maybe looking for anybody to start coming from the hallway. We do sit in a 3v3. It's not as though it was a bad series of trades, but it does effectively give all of one room control towards their opponent. So now they'll have to be a little bit more careful how aggressive they want to get. He peeks it, or he looks away. He un-ADSs from the Hibana at just the wrong moment. That could have been the diffuser down on the outside. And instead, Raiden will come out of that fight worse for wear. He hangs on to a sliver of HP, and the rest of this gadgetry will begin to be expended on the side of Okami, as now everybody on Bad Company just kind of sitting in and starting to dig their heels into the site, waiting for somebody to make a move, because now there's less than a minute left. It's still a 3v3, so there's definitely the potential to move in for a plant, but not if that Maestro can't get cleared out, and that's what Benji's going for. One Ash charge, and it won't be the thing to kill him. It'll instead be Flack, as that Ash charge does force the Maestro to move back out behind the half wall, and now everything seems to be firmly in Okami's favor, as Thunder definitely on the worst end of that HP score, as he also hangs on to just a sliver, and now both of them are going to have to watch both sides of the objective. Flak will go down for the plant, yet another round where this becomes a possibility. Benji goes for yet another kill, and Okami will they'll clean up as one man goes for the plant. Both other members that are still on Okami's side just go for those last remaining frags, and now we sit at a 4-2 heading into the split.
Really, really well played on that end game coming out from Okami. As they were attacking onto that bomb site, again, the first half of that round actually went pretty much the same as we saw in round number 5, right? You have an exchange inside of security. Both teams lose a bit of players. Neither team lose as many. So now you're saying, okay, well, we're Okami. We've got 3 players left alive. One guy's going to plant, one guy's going to watch the planter, and one guy's going to come in for the flank. Everybody did exactly what they needed to do, and they all did it effectively. So I think that was pretty much played how you needed to. You force the guys back a little bit so you can get in position for Flak to start that plant. And again, just everybody sort of doing their job at the last dying seconds of that round. So well deserved from Okami. We'll head into round number 7 with the side swap. And Agoya was teased, but doesn't look like it's going to be brought out this time.
Man, they're really tugging at my heartstrings here. We had a Thinker for 1 round, and then we almost had a Goryo. Like, come on, man. There's so many things you can do with those shields. Give me a reason to talk about them. There's a couple different things that you can see already. This is the first time we've seen Thatcher, if I'm remembering right. There's no other time on the first half where Thatcher was being brought out, or at least used effectively. It could have been a first-round thing in the same round as Finka as well. But on the opposite end of things, it looks it's the first time. Both Castle and Mozzie are making their in-match debuts, as we'll move downstairs for our first bomb site. We're not heading to Armory Lockers. We're heading downstairs to Bathroom Tellers to start this defensive half. What's the mindset for somebody not wanting to go for a top floor defense for the first site on your defensive half? Why don't you go to the top floor? Why do you worry about that verticality?
I mean, this is just a big surprise play. You can tell these attackers aren't
They're really rushing in. What is going on?
They're just getting onto this bottom floor, and they're not really worried about the roamers. Now, these uses of the Nomad charge is actually really effective because you stop these guys from falling down through those hatches. Now, Benji's going to be the first one to go down. We actually already saw a plant tent. The attackers are inside of the bomb site. Kilo with a great angle down to the diffuser.
Oh, we
However,
can't get it in the hole. No.
Yeah, that's unlucky. The remote gas canister not going to hit where he needs to. Shoots it himself, but Dirty's able to finish off on some kills. We got a 3-on-2 now as kills go back and forth between everybody in the server. Raiden's also been down, so it's effectively a 2-on-2. Kilo up above and Lamon as well. Going to be on a bit of a flank, not really on the bomb site where he needs to be. So this is a tough position for the defenders. They're lucky, though, because the diffuser has been down and the attackers aren't really in the spot where they can pick it up. If you can just keep your guys alive up on that top floor, use those floorboards to your advantage, poke some holes in them. You still got a lot of shotguns to try to play around with, and this is definitely a winnable situation. Despite the fact the attackers are close to that diffuser and they could probably pick it up, you're watching from above. You can stop them from doing that, and they're actually in a really powerful position.
Nobody from Bad Company is going to be in a position to pick up Raiden, and it'll just be finished off from Kilo from that top floor. Not able to put those gas grenades all the way downstairs or even prevent a plant, instead just relying on sheer gunplay from the SMG-11 to be the reason that they don't get it secured immediately. And now you start playing the time game. You know that there's more top floor that needs to be cleared out before you're able to get back on that diffuser, and I think both Bazin and Braindead are fully aware of this, and now they have to begin their takes all the way back down to stop Okami from just completely wasting the time that they have remaining in the round. It'll be Kilo to be the first one to jump out, and he'll find Bajan outside. Habana's down immediately, and all of a sudden it's Braindead. He's got to go for 1 kill on the smoke, and then has to rotate and find the castle, but both of them are upstairs, just waiting for Zofia to make a mistake and really reveal herself. May not be enough time to find both kills, or just find 1 kill and then head downstairs for the diffuser, as the smoke does have some holes that they can shoot through downstairs, and the castle has a hatch that he can drop through immediately should the need arise for a rotate. He grabs the kill, so now there's one bit out of the way, and the castle's not in a great position either. He'll have to back off and just head back towards site and just continue to waste time, as it will mean that Zofia will have to continue looking for the castle to seeing if he's gone back upstairs, and maybe he's aware of the drop, but instead he'll head back down. He's got to go for the diffuser immediately, and the castle's already gone back upstairs. Everyone's just flipping, reversing roles. It's a crazy mind game between both of them. He doesn't grab diffuser, and now he finally has it, but this will be the castle. He'll need to move back in position on the holes that Smoke made if he wants to find a kill through the floorboards, and instead he'll let the plant go down, as he knows Zofia has to stay around that diffuser and can't move away from it too much. Now we sit here in a stalemate. as both of them continue to move back and forth from the diffuser. He could go right for a diffuse right now, but he'll pop off of it, just waiting for any sound cues, trying to figure out where Zofia is hiding. No one has made a move yet. Zofia is so far off the bomb, it may still be possible for Castle to go for a diffuse, and Zofia won't be able to move back into position fast enough, but Leymon still definitely wants to secure this kill before he goes for it. There may not be enough time on the diffuse left. The rest of the clock ticks down. He knows he has to go for it. He has to stick it in. Now the Zofia can move back in. Pings do come out. His position's given away. Will he get it off? No, he won't. Brain Dead finally, after rotate, will secure the kill onto Leymon. Grab one more for Bad Company. Move us to a 4v3. And I don't understand how a rush like that ends in such a tense 1v1.
I mean, it's 10:45 on the East Coast. Your Fitbit steps are important to get in. Of course, 3,000 steps every single day at the very least. And if you're sitting down at your computer for some games at the end of the night, you got to get those steps in one way or another. I guess that's a way to do it. Run around the map endlessly until eventually the round has to come to an end. Good God. Yeah, that was a round. Everybody all over the place, as you were talking about. Crazy stuff going down. Well played, though, from Brain Dead Aimer. I mean, that was really a battle of wits more than anything at the end of it. Really just sort of outguessing where your opponent's going to be, where you can get plants off, where you can try to find your opponent. A game of hide and seek almost at the end of it. But, I mean, really well done. I also don't want to shy away from the smoke that was playing up top as well. I don't know who it was. It wasn't Flack who's on the smoke this time around, because he was on the Mozzie last time.
No, it was a Kilo on the smoke last round.
Yeah, Kilo was on the smoke, and he really, really well done. He had a 3K in that round, and then playing those vertical angles. He died eventually, but you got to give it to him. That is not a game that a lot of people can play. Denying the diffuser from even being touched by the attackers just from holding that top angle, not for a second letting the attackers feel comfortable enough to grab that diffuser. That's a really powerful way to play the game. So, I mean, credit to them. They lost the round, but I still saw some impressive stuff coming out from Okami, and again, just what a crazy round that was.
If anything, I'm just sad that we weren't able to see the first defense round on the side of Bad Company end up in a win because it wasn't on the top floor. But on the opposite side, I think it was pretty obvious that once they realized it was a bathroom take and not an armory take, as one quick frag from Dirty will take down Prompted immediately. They just knew that it was time to rush once they knew it was bathroom and not top floor. And that might be the same case here as we head to ventilation as opposed to hitting armory. They're just avoiding that top floor yet again, and it may not work out in their favor as the attack is coming in fast and furious, a little bit slower than last time. Not everybody is rushing bodies towards site as fast as possible, but they are taking a little bit more time to begin to figure some positions out, as they aren't necessarily as worried about that top floor clear as we saw EXG and PogChamp in last game. And as we saw from last round, it just doesn't seem to be that much of a priority. If they can go for some top floor takes, they will. And it may already be pressuring Okami into a really bad hole if they can't find a way to move around how Bad Company is suppressing them in.
Yeah, Bad Company have been fast. They're going to get their second kill of the round with Dirty finding Flack. So that's another one of the support players off of the board for you. Hello, behind you. Brain Dead not looking where he's going. Leymon's going to find one, but he himself gets caught off guard by Bayesian, who's also rotating around inside of the open area. So we're continuing to trade frags, but it looks like this round will also be going in favor of Bad Company with a two-man advantage. It looks pretty likely. You've got some gunfire happening up top. Kilo thinking about dropping. It would be advised because, again, you don't want to be up top for too long on this maps, or on this bomb site, I should say, but there are people watching his drop, so he's got to be careful which hatch he chooses. Benji actually also up top here, so this has been another vertical hold coming out from Okami. This one a little bit less successful. They do get a kill from Kilo hitting the headshot onto Thunder, so that's something, but the plant's gone down, and that's a bit bigger of a deal if you're the defenders. You've got to be able to stop that from happening, and this time from up top, they weren't able to do so. So now they got to rotate. Now they got to find, first of all, a safe way to drop. Looks like they were able to find that. Benji at the very least was. Now we gotta win these gunfights. It's tough to do so, clearly. Kilo's found one. Benji finds the second, and now they're just looking for Raiden. Can he hit the shot? No, he can't. Raiden hits that one into a one-on-one. Now we find ourselves halfway through that diffuser time. Benji's got to go for it. Knows it too, because Raiden's outside of this doorway. Throws in the flashbang. Doesn't blind Benji. Now we can go for this disable. Probably going to be a fake. Unless he wants to stick it. He shouldn't have, and he doesn't, but it doesn't matter because through the doorway comes Raiden. Guns ablazing and Bad Company tie us up 4-4. Again, it looks like we got a match for ourselves, Jacob.
It is definitely turning around from the 4-2 half that we had as soon as we were done. Because we played, if you remember, 3 times we played on Armory Lockers to start the first half, and both times we've seen a defense in second. We haven't seen it played out yet. And indeed, we're switching off of it again. We're going back to Ventilation Workshop. The second floor play is just not what Okami wants to go for, and it hasn't worked out for them either time. I wish I could say why they're not confident in not being able to use that top floor to their advantages. Everybody is at some point on Bad Company's side has found a way to use the destructible floors, use the hatches, use anything to grab frags onto any member of Okami, and it just hasn't worked out. It's all one big question. They clearly have confidence that they can do something on first floor as opposed to the top. But 2 rounds in a row, we've seen Bad Company do nothing but drone, storm in, and find kills where they needed the most. Even though it was a clutch on the Bathroom Tellers round, and in this case it was technically a 1v1 clutch from the Nomad, Bad Company's found a way to counter it both times, and it's mostly been grab 1 frag, drone in, grab the rest of them, and then, you know, you go back, rinse, repeat. I don't know if it's going to happen again. The first time it just happens, second time's a coincidence, third time's a pattern. And if this is a pattern, then we may not want to see, or Okami may want to reconsider not going to a first floor site in the next round after this one in round 10.
It's certainly a different tale when you look at the bomb sites being played by both these two teams. Of course, 3 rounds in a row, it was played by Bad Company, and 3 rounds in a row, it was lost by Bad Company. So maybe just reading into the bans, reading into the matches being played today, Okami saw what went down in that first half, and they said, we don't want any part of it. It's also, I think, Border, maybe a map that is a little bit flexible on those sites. I think more so than people give it credit for. We do have still, of course, some gunfights happening on this top floor. You always got to watch out for that. Even when you're defending these bottom floors, we say it is important to hold the top floor. Lemon taking a bit of damage, 25 HP or so off of his scoreline, or off of his health bar. So that's not going to be something you can play around with any longer. Bye-bye from downtown. Prompt is able to land a C4 kill on a Braindead. Lemon follows it up with a headshot. So this is going very, very well for the defenders. Clearly, they don't need the top floor to be able to find some rounds, at least not at the start of this one. Now, they've let these things slip away from them before, and they haven't found any defensive wins just yet, but this one looks possible, Jacob.
This one is more possible already, if only because they haven't let one of their players get fragged immediately. The Pulse was the first one to die in the last round, but now he'll gather some more intel as he'll start relaying that back to the remainder of Okami and see if they can't go for some more frags. Another one from Kilo. Actually, that's his first frag, and Lemon grabs his second from a really nasty punch hole. Now you still have Diffuser of your Bayesian, but that's the only good thing that you've got. You've got 5 players to go through, half the round remaining, and oh, what a wallbang! Excuse me? Turn the hacks off, Bayesian. This isn't the time. This is CL quals. You can do that on an alt account later. Also, please don't do that because that's not sportsmanlike. He'll look for anybody else back through half wall. His position is given away. He's still looking for one back in lockers if he can find it, but he's not opted to rotate just yet. He knows he has to go for these picks if he wants to have any chance of moving the diffuser back downstairs towards site, because there are people on site and he can't give up that vertical control. More fire will continue to come. Prompted has an idea of where he's sitting. He can whip out that cardiac sensor if he wants. He does see him again. More fire comes through, but now both the Pulse and the Habana are aware of each other's whereabouts, and it will continue to happen as long as the Habana is sticking upstairs. Again, knowing that if you don't kill the people up top, then you can't go for the people down below. He's not really getting too aggressive as he doesn't have a lot of time to make it happen, and Flack will be the one to get the kill as there's just too much top floor presence, but it'll be a kill from downstairs that finally finishes off Habana. And now we move into a 5-4, and things are really beginning to heat up.
I don't know if that was really around Bayesian was trying to win. Sometimes when you're in a 1-on-5 and you've got a lot of time on the clock, teams will just choose to say, hey, you know what, let's take a moment, let's talk things out between our squad, let's take a breather, because that round was clearly not our time. But he did eventually push a little bit aggressive, so maybe he wanted to fight for it. Either way, of course, it's going to be a round going in favor of Okami. And again, I think that sort of speaks to the flexibility of Border. None of the bomb sites are that good, right? Obviously, teams tend to go to Armory Lockers Archives more than other bomb sites, but you can still find success if you don't like that bomb site. And I think that probably that bomb site's a little overrated. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think that a lot of teams are starting to realize that, you know, with Border so old, you know, so played out, I would say a lot of teams seem to think, at least, then you can really play around with a lot of different sites, and clearly that's what the guys over on Okami have been doing, and it's working out for them quite well, at least in that last round. Now, they've lost Bathroom and Vents once each. They've won vents once, and they're going to try to win bathroom a second time to put themselves on a match point. You look back to those first couple of rounds, and again, they were some weird ones. I don't dislike that they go to bathrooms again. Sure, it's not a common sight, but it seems like their defenses have been fine. It's just been weird situations where they throw it away that seems to loosen this bomb site. So we'll see if they can fix their mistakes in round number 10.
If anything, I can understand the idea behind Border being a super played out map, but it almost seems like not necessarily that they can't defend top floor effectively, because we've seen that in the round that they won. They are able to hold on to top floor and, you know, play downwards if they need to, or, you know, if anyone's playing on the outside by Armory or by CC, then they're doing their part to keep any of the top floor attackers off of the top floor whenever push comes to shove. So it's not to say that I don't think they can definitely defend the top side if they wanted to go for it. It's just that they haven't opted to yet. And even though a lot of this map will still depend on how that vertical play goes, as there are still 2 members of Okami who want to sit upstairs. Actually, that might be 3 members of Okami who are trying to hold up that office area, as everybody else from Bad Company will start to storm in, and the rest of the gadgetry will be set up. That's 1 Toxic Babe already used up by Kilo. I'm not certain if he's trying to get that through the floorboards, because that wouldn't be the first time that it hasn't worked out. Raiden will grab the first one on Flax, so your mute's off the board, but the jammers are still in play, so it's not the worst pick in the world if you're Okami. But 2 more in quick succession as Brain Dead and Dirty pick up a couple of their own, and now the ones that are alive are the only 2 that are currently trying to defend from the top floor. Now they have to defend their position as one does rotate that down. Kilo on the smoke will remain up top, trying to prevent anybody from walking right in. Nope. Jaeger is indeed still upstairs, so nobody is moving downstairs onto the site just yet, as now they have to go through a hatch drop or maybe some holes in the floor to cover any angles from which an attacker might attempt to plan. In this case, it does look as though it's Habana once again with the diffuser, and they've still got about half the round left as the pressure is being put on from Thatcher. Still nothing getting super aggressive just yet. It's kind of like we're waiting for somebody to make a move, as Okami is down to the round count, so they're just kind of content to wait for a frag to come to them. They know that they have the top floor positioning. That's the last Toxic Babe now, I believe. And 1 more from Dirty as he grabs his 2nd kill of the round, and it's just the Jaeger as he'll find 3 Will Dirty and send Bad Company back into a tie game with Okami. Back and forth once again, the seesaw goes, and I genuinely have no idea who will pull it out these next 2.
Maybe Bathroom Tellers just sucks. I don't know. They've gone there twice and failed it twice, and that time it really didn't look like it was gonna like go anywhere. The top floor hold just not strong enough. I mean, they even dealt with the guys downstairs pretty early on, and then I mean, credit where credit is due. Dirty pulling off some really good shots, right? Feeding off the information from his teammates too. That's something that kind of gets overlooked a lot of the time in matches, but clearly there's a lot of good info being thrown towards Dirty. So credit to his support players to be able to deliver that to him, and then of course hitting those shots is always important as well. But yeah, I mean, it can just be easy to focus down that top floor when there's no real way to get back down to the bomb site, especially if you want to do what they sort of tried to do in round number 7, where they just go for the plants. 2 different ways that it's really been attacked by Bad Company, and both ways it seemed to work out. One way a lot better than the other, to be fair. Round number 7 isn't really something you want to be repeating if you're either team. But still, I think that's probably something they want to avoid for the rest of the match, and they might agree with me. They're going to go to Armory Locker's Archive for round number 11, finally hitting the most popular bomb site in the 2nd last round of regular time.
If anything, it's a popular bomb site, probably just because it's a safe bet, you know, with Border being so used in terms of strategy. I honestly do understand the reasoning behind wanting to pick sites that aren't this one, you know, should you have the option, because you're able to use different strategies and you're able to play the map in a little bit of a different method. But this is the safe bet. This is the one that people know how to play the best, because it's been done by the pros time and time again, year after year, and you have general ideas about how you want to play it every time, you know. Everybody, especially within, you know, even a tier 2 or tier 3 scene, knows how important rooms are when you're trying to, you know, work out a top floor room clear, or make sure that everybody on the defense is kind of cornered up in a couple of rooms before you move in. First kill is 2 nades from the bottom from Brain Dead on the Zofia, and your Maestro is gone immediately with less than a minute already expended. Benji will find one on Raiden, so it does get a refrag, but not the one you were hoping for, as already one of your ACOGs is down, but you do have Prompted sitting inside CC in case someone goes for it, and that's assuming he can also stave off the buck from down below.
Prompted just not flinching as that block from Dirty tears up these floorboards. Clearly knows he's safe, knows
Probably
the
because
layouts.
he's Doc, because he'll just heal himself up if he gets hit. Let's be real.
Not if you're hit in the face, though. You always got to be worried about that. Even from down below, it's a tougher shot, but certainly it's possible. Now he'll react. He's going to look out in towards the hallway and see who he can find. He's going to go back all the way into Fountain. Prompted in a bit of a gunfight down on the bottom of those stairs. Now he heals himself back up using those stim pistols. As was mentioned, Braindead can make some rotations as well, so this isn't too bad. I think from the defense, of course, losing one early hurts, but you did get the refrag from a nice shot from Benji, and now you've managed to hold things out, stall the timer for quite a long time. I don't believe that CCTV wall, or that Armory Lockers wall has been opened, unless it was soft. Actually, it might be. That would be a bit of an issue for the defenders, but not the worst thing in the world. They've taken control over security, so that's a little bit of ground lost, but they have still the bomb site in their hands. That's going to be at least something as this push comes in for the final minute.
Wait a little bit more here as the attack still continues to be more pensive, more tentative. They're not looking for too many of those angles. They'll just wait for the angle or for the head to show up right into a hole, as that'll be Braindead's second kill. See, nabs one with his gun as opposed to with his grenades, and it's a little bit more pressure now being put on the defense, but it does get evened out as Prompted inside CC will grab the second one for Bad Company. Now we'll continue to work very slowly inside another round where a diffuser plant is at least attempted, but if that smoke can still go right back through, it won't take Bayesian out. He should be able to get the plant out, and he'll come out with minimal HP, but now you're already down by one man as it turns into a 3v2 post plant, and the defuse will just be attempted real quick, but there are holes that you can watch right through, and even though you're on low HP, there's still a chance that he can get it. We'll have to go for it immediately as the counter defuse from Prompted will go in unabated, and it won't be enough time as the C4 forces him to come off of watching the plant. The C4 from CCTV gets chucked out, and he can't get back in position fast enough to find the dock. Wonderful, wonderful pressure from Okami to force the Habana off of looking at the bomb, and now Okami will sit at match point, one round away from going 2-1 in their qualifier games tonight, and it'll come down to Bad Company to win one more and force OT.
You feel bad for Bayesian in that one. Obviously, very little HP. He's playing a little bit scared, and I get it. Like, that's a totally natural way to play that situation. But you're in a 1-on-2. You know that one guy's going to be diffusing while the other guy goes for the watch. You got to take that gunfight. It's unlikely he would have won it anyways, just given his position, and again, that incredibly low HP. But he had to try, and he didn't, and so you lose it one way or another. Puts match point in the hands of Okami, as we were talking about, and that's a little bit scary. Of course, they have had the lead for, I would say, the majority of this game. It started off with Bad Company taking the lead, and then eventually was taken back a couple rounds in a row. They got 3 at the end of the first half, Okami did, and they took the lead there, and then it was sort of even back up. They find themselves in the lead once more. Hopefully, for their sake, they won't have to regain that lead. But 6-5, we come back down to Ventilation Workshop. We've won it once, we've lost it once in this half. I don't know, I'm excited. If nothing else, I just want to say, as we approach possibly our final match or our final round of the night, I'm glad we got 2 fantastic matches to watch tonight, Jacob. And wow, hopefully this round delivers just like the last ones.
We've had nothing but good round after good round for both of these matches, Jesse, and it's nice to have this sort of competition, these sort of really close games, get this kind of exposure. It's giving everybody a preview to what CL Season 11 is going to be like once it kicks off. Hopefully pretty soon. We got 4 more weeks of qualifiers to go after we're done with this one, and, we're only about halfway through our first qualifier to speak of. And everything that we've seen thus far has been close game after close game, though to be fair, we have seen some teams get dumpstered in other qualifiers to start with. It's not the case here, as both of these guys really, really looking to earn their spots. As everything will now hinge on one more defense of Ventilation Workshop. Yet another attempt for Okami to go for this one, as there was another one of those, I believe, one of those rushes from Bad Company was how this match, or how this bomb site was very poorly defended on the side of Okami, so we'll see if Bad Company are able to effectively strategize as well. They're already moving many of their attackers into the first floor, not worried about the top floor as much, like we said. Everybody's starting to drone in, and the coverage won't worry nearly as much about that top floor as now. All of a sudden, you've got the hatches reinforced. The Maestro can't find his way downstairs, but Kilo will be the first one off the board as Bad Company's attack seems to be working out thus far. It's just the diffuser is a little bit ways off site as the rest of Bad Company, who's already in the building, still keeps looking for those frags.
So a 1-man advantage, and they're going to extend that to a 2-man advantage from a nice shot from Raiden. Just catches prompted a little bit off guard. You've still got a couple players up top. Even fewer now as Flak gets found. Thunder looking for the 4th kill of the round. It looks like we're going to be headed to overtime if this continues. Lemon and Benji going to have to pull out a miracle, and now it's going to be all on the shoulders of Benji. I mean, he's a good player, a lot of experience, Pro League, Challenger League, all of it under his belt, but I don't know if this is going to be all that doable. Nope, it's a perfect round from Bad Company to push us to overtime, and this is exactly what the night deserved. We go all the way to OT. Oh boy.
No one wants to give ground. Nobody is interested in saying, yeah, you know what, I'm done. There's always another way for the other team to find a way to counter and push back. It's been either a tie game. I think the biggest lead that we had was Okami up by 2, and both teams go 4 attack wins, 2 defense wins on their respective halves, and now we'll see how it fares with only 3 maximum rounds left. It seems like it's the exact same setup as last time. Prompted on the dock, Lamont on the castle. Everything here is almost like it's been scripted because it's been done before throughout the course of this match a couple of times already, and it'll actually be a 6 pick from Lamont back to Mira to open up a little bit more intel with those black mirrors. But if anything, how else are they going to play these sites? It feels like they've played every site right now except for customs. Everyone's been played, everyone's been lost, and everybody on the side of Okami has had multiple different ways to try and figure these defenses out. What else can they really do at this point? They've won and lost everything multiple times, and to their credit, hopefully they'll stay away from bathroom tellers again should we have to go to overtime match point in 2 rounds. But I'm just curious about what it's going to take for Bad Company to finally break the seal.
Obviously, it seems like Bad Company should have the advantage coming in here just because attackers have done a little bit better in the first 2 halves, and they did get it first thing off on the overtime. However, I think there's some adaptation to be done from both teams in the defense. There's been a lot of plants in this matchup from both sides. If you can force that planter, whoever it may be, to not get those plants down, you're going to find a lot more success than usual. Lemon bringing the Mira is a little bit strange from this team. Obviously, it was utilized quite a bit from Bad Company when they were on the defense. Now we see Okami bringing it out, so we'll see if they want to utilize it in a different way. It seems pretty similar. You're holding on to security. You're going to be looking down that hallway. Benji, of course, being played behind that Mira and around it. So he's going to be your focus in this round to be holding on to that area. But he's got to have support. And so, again, you want to be able to bring your defenders back to site to stop that planter. And as well as holding down those flanks is going to be hugely important for the defenders.
The strat from Bad Company has been to rush if it's a first floor objective and to play everything a little more cautiously if it's indeed going for the Armory Locker site. And, even more of their attack seems to be concentrated on moving into the first floor and then trying to find frags on the upstairs way. One nade doesn't do any damage to Lemon, even though it does hit the red indicator, move out of the way right at the last second. And everybody will begin to start up the intel game once again. 2 players sitting upstairs, and the pings come out, but Dirty might not be able to find the frag on the Mirror unless he can get this nade just right. Nope, moved back out of the way at just the wrong moment. Kilo will nab the first frag and put Okami up in a 5v4 man count, and that is your only hard breach off the board to start with, and the diffuser is down. That pick right there could be the thing that gives Okami the lead after this round is all said and done.
Got offices open up, so it's not like you've gotten 0 entrances into the map, but this is still a very tough position, as you mentioned, and getting into the bomb site without a hard destructor from offices is also going to be a big challenge. You got Aimer with about 10 HP in his back pocket. These defensive players looking a lot healthier. Over by the window bench, he thinks he sees somebody, but it's not going to come to fruition from a kill. You do have another player on his back outside, but again, they don't need to peek this. Benji getting a little bit over-aggressive for my taste. They have diffuser down. They have a strong position. They know that the attackers need to get into offices to stop this.
Boy.
However it works. Thankfully, with Braindead being on such little HP, Lemon only needs 1 bullet to get the down and then another one to finish him off. So really well done by the Mirror in that situation. Find yourselves 40 seconds to go, and it looks almost unwinnable for the attackers.
Slapping a Mirror window in that corner is just one more strat I'm going to chalk up to, hey, ranked stat, can we give this a shot? Because this seems like it's really effective. It's been a bandit before, just putting one on that far wall as Dirty will find one, but he get refried immediately by Flak. But it's just a matter of holding somebody in that corner the entire time, and it's wasted so much time on this round already. So much of the attack concentrating on offices hasn't been able to bring anything out. The barbed wire will give the Nomad's position away, but he'll come out with the frag as now Thunder has to move in quick and fast, but 2 kills quickly, 1 from Prompt and 1 from Kilo. Okami sits right back on match point again, but now they have to attack Bad Company, who, remember, won 4 rounds on their defensive half what feels like a decade ago at this point. We've been playing this game for so long.
It's been a long time. I'm glad this is the last match of the night. We can go as long as we need to. There's not going to be any time constraints, although we would be fine even if it wasn't. We haven't hit that hour and a half, 90-minute mark yet, and we probably won't by the end of these last 2 rounds. But man, oh man, it's been a long one. You look at that back of that last round, a lot of it for me was just that Hibana going down so early. Bayesian needs to stay alive in that situation to open up the walls into the offices. Truth, I mean, yeah, they didn't even get into the offices, right, to get into the bomb site from there. But it felt like they stalled out a little bit, and so you're worried about that. There was no real adaptation to come out from the attackers, and so Bayesian had to stay alive a little bit longer. Didn't do that, and because of that, they find themselves 1 round down. It's going to be match point for Okami.
Rather than heading back up to the thing I called the safe bet before, they're going for the workshop ventilation defense, and it does seem as though they're putting a pretty fair amount of utility back upstairs, and they'll hopefully, if anything, be looking to just try and stop some roam game from Okami. If they want to concentrate their attack on the upstairs side, and slapping those reinforcements where they are isn't necessarily to prevent them from getting into one wall. Maybe aside from the armory wall, that's where you want to dedicate your Hibana X Kairos. It's more or less to say, hey, if you wanted to get to one particular side faster, you're going to have to go a completely different way unless you're a hard breacher, and it forces a different maze on the top floor for the rest of Okami to get through before you start focusing on where exactly you can slap the bomb downstairs onto site and go for an effective post plant. So if anything, we'll see if you're not using a bullet hole peek. Raiden, okay, thank you. Thank you. No, sir. We don't need to be encouraging this kind of play to people who are watching the stream for the first time. Raiden, unacceptable.
Whatever it takes to win, man. I'm not gonna shame him in this situation. Yeah, overtime match point. Challenger League qualifiers, game number 6. Of course, a ton on the line in this situation. You gotta kind of pull out all the stops. It is what it is. It's the game. You gotta play to win. One of those switch drones we were talking about, opening up that mirror window, going to make it a little bit harder for the defenders to play super aggressive inside of armory lockers. Again, that's not the bomb site, but that top floor is so crucial to hold on to for the rest of this round. You got a couple of players still roaming around on the outside, of course, for the attack. You've got all your players alive. This was the very famous multi-good gun combo, I'm going to call it, because we've got so many fragging operators, so much potential to just tear stuff up, and that's not going to be a good start. Again, it's going to be a Hibana opening death.
Diffuser's down, but that's not nearly a big deal because there are, again, similar to last round, there are still multiple ways that you can get into the building, but no longer having a hard breach means any of those reinforcements are going to stay stuck, and they're not going to go anywhere as you won't be able to find peek holes through them. You can't do anything. A quick run out from the Jaeger, his 2nd kill, and that diffuser may very well firmly be in the hands of the defense as Raiden will find another one and put us into a 5v2. It's looking like OT match point if both of them can go 7-7, but that is the worst possible place to have the diffuser just be stuck is in the hands of a Jaeger who knows how to use that carbine.
You got just over a minute, and as you mentioned, this looks so tough. It seems like we're going maximum overtime. If I had to make a bet on how the rest of this round will go, we got a push in from one of the attackers, and they do get a kill, or at least a down onto Dirty. Finished off as Thunder on a Kilo, and a second one for Bad Company. Flawless round gives round 14 to BC, and we go all the way to round 15. It's going to be a long night, and we're almost at the end of it, folks. This is so close between I would say two of the best teams in this qualifier. Man, oh man. OT match point. What a round. What a series.
Allow me to set the stage for you. Both of these teams, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this game, again, what seems like eons ago, both of these teams are 1-1 in their games today. Both of them went undefeated in their games on Monday night, but today they've both lost one. Whoever wins this one is going into a really good position going into the games on tomorrow's side because they have a 2-match buffer, and they can probably lose one more if they wanted to keep going because they won't be eliminated as easily. However, the loser of this match will be 1-2, which means if they lose one more qualifier game tomorrow, then they're out of the qualifiers. They get their points, and then they're done. That's it. They won't be able to compete in this qualifier anymore, and they'll have to come back next week. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I fully agree with Dirty. This has been a phenomenal game, regardless of who comes out the victor.
You ready, folks? This is what it all comes down to. Of course, round 15, we head back to Ventilation Workshop. So with the defense succeeding quite a lot in this overtime, again, a bit of a departure from what we saw in the regular time, we will see now them forced off of Armory Locker's Workshop, and they head downstairs to Ventilation. This is a great drone from Raiden, getting a ton of information. Lamon just caught on those cams as he tears down his teammates' barricades to put up his own. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication being shown out. Possible reading things a little bit too hard here, but that's always something you don't love to see. Just a little bit of wasted time shows that maybe they're not all on the same page. I mean, this late into the night, it's acceptable, it's understandable how teams would be a little bit maybe not on the same page. They've been playing for a long, long time, and both these teams want this win. Huge disagreement on where these barricades should go. Prompted still needs to get inside of the building. Oh boy, again, it's going to be holding on that top floor. You want to hold on to this as long as you can, and of course, there's going to be pressure on a bad company to force them out and then move downwards and attack that bomb site.
It doesn't really seem as though Bad Company are getting nearly as, I don't want to say reckless, but they're not getting nearly as aggressive as they have been whenever they've noticed that Okami goes for a first floor bomb site as opposed to top floor. But to their credit, they are taking a little more time to grab some intel. They have all of customs already secured, and now everyone from Okami kind of seems to recognize, hey, there's people down here. We might want to come back on site, and everybody else from Okami seems to just be waiting pensively, waiting for a frag to come through, and somehow Dirty finds one on Flak, the smoke taken down in the back. I didn't even see anybody, so kudos to kudos to the Buck for finding that one all the way in the back of Workshop. It puts Okami into a bad position, is now Bad Company, if only based on sheer man count and the fact that it's a tie game, are effectively winning this match, but there's still 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, and a lot can change in that short time frame.
I feel so bad for Flak. He started off this matchup as maybe my MVP, and now he's died first twice in a row. At least his teammate Benji will able to get the refrag onto Raiden, so that's the Ash off of the board. One of those strong guns taken out of the hands of Bad Company, so you're happy to see that. Again, this top floor control been quite powerful. You've got 3 guys at the very least, but you need to stop this plant from happening. Bayesian, if he gets this down, that could be the end of things. He does get taken out. It's a 2-on-4 now. Lamon and Benji cleaning things up, and things might slow down once again. These attackers down below have just totally ignored the top floor, and that could be such a terrible mistake for them if they don't manage to get back up. The benefit for them, though, is they have a lot of time, and they could still go for a rotate and still win this round.
Still just under a minute to go, and everything flipping from a 5v4 in Bad Company's favor now is a 4v2 on the complete opposite side. Not what you want if you're both Brain Dead and Thunder, but they need to find a way to move around all this vertical placement from the Castle and the Jaeger sitting up top. This is why you clear out that top floor first before you go in, and why it's super risky for you to go on the first floor to start off with. Prompted knocks out both players, and that sends Okami to their second win of the night, 8-7, sitting over Bad Company in a phenomenal matchup between two very evenly matched North American squads. Okami, your winners after a full 15 rounds of absolute constructed madness.
What a game we have between these two teams. Fantastic showing from both squads, of course. I don't want to take anything away from either of these two players. Well done to the guys on Bad Company. Well done to the guys on Okami. They, of course, take the W at the end of the night. Really impressive stuff being shown by both the squads, though. These are, again, going to be two teams you really need to watch out for throughout the rest of these qualifiers. I think Okami were already probably on most people's radar because those are a lot of known names, but Bad Company have been grinding together for a while now, and they're really starting to make a mark on the scene, too. So, I mean, kudos all around. It has been a very late night. Really close series of games, Jacob. I'm so happy you could join me for these matches. They've been some phenomenal ones to watch.
Tonight has been a really, really good night, if only because it's just more proof that the competition within North America is strong, provided you don't, match teams up together that are clearly on opposite ends of the spectrum. Both teams in both games that we've played have been very, very evenly matched, and it's been a joy to watch. Jesse, thank you very, very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be able to do this with anybody, and I love the experience that I'm gaining from this.
Well, thank you as well, Jacob. Thank you so much, Crater. Give some love to our observer in the chat. He did a fantastic job throughout both of the matches tonight. Thank you all to tuning into these wonderful matches. Thank you to the players, thank you to ESL, and everybody who managed to put on this wonderful, wonderful show. Of course, there's a lot of people involved in these types of competitions, so a lot of praise to be going around. That's, of course, it for the night. We only did 2 games, but 3 games were played by the teams tonight. 3 more get played tomorrow. We're going to try to be live. I'm not sure who's going to be here, but we're going to try to collect some more of those matches on tomorrow. And yeah, if you like the stream, go ahead and give it a follow. You can also follow us all on Twitter. I'm at Jesse J. Chick. Jacob is at Caliber Jacob, if I'm not correct. If I'm not
That is
mistaken.
correct.
Perfect. And Crater is at Crater R6, I want to say. If not, we can just post them all in the chat afterwards. We'll give you guys links. Thank you again so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.